You want to
You
go?
are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right, we are live. We are live. What's going on, guys?
Good morning, good morning.
With the
Human
crybaby in
1,
the background.
AI
Perfect.
0.
What is it? What is that in reference to?
So I was working on the Haveno seed node system D service, and I was doing I was making it so that it would get the onion address for the seed node automatically, and I had to do what's called a command substitution. And I did it and tested it, and it worked. And then I uploaded it to the Haveno GitHub, and the Copilot AI came back and told me that you can't do command substitution in System D services because it doesn't recognize that, and you have to wrap it in a shell. And I got to looking at it, and I'm like, the thing's already wrapped in a shell. Why don't you look at the context before spouting off your mouth about something you don't realize?
So, what AI were you using?
It was well, I wasn't using the AI. The AI decided it thought it could correct me, and it was Copilot.
Copilot. Okay.
I did it right, and the AI came back and was like, "You can't do that." And I'm like, "Did you read the context? Because clearly I can, because it's working."
You're smarter than the AI.
Yep.
Speaking of, what was this for? For creating a onion address for?
The Haveno seed nodes, yes. So,
Okay.
Tor, the Haveno seed nodes use Tor, and so you can use Tor externally. But if you use Tor externally, you normally have to enter in the Tor hidden service address into the actual system D service file. And I was making it to where instead of having to do it manually, it could get it automatically.
Cool. That's cool that you were contributing that.
Yeah, I can do just little things here and there.
Yeah. Very cool. Speaking of onion addresses, we are finally launching one for XMR Bazaar.
Yes, and I am very excited.
I've seen that. That's sick.
Are you the one that's doing it for us?
No,
we
but
hired somebody on XMR Bazaar because we have somebody running the server that needs to be run for it. So
No, but I have been waiting for this for a very long time. I'm not the one doing it though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Anarchio, the main dev, he was kind of reluctant, like a little slow to do it. He kept putting it off, and really his reasoning was that it's interesting. I'm glad he's coming from this standpoint because he's protecting us. He's just concerned that as if the onion address will be published, right? Perhaps in dark markets, like, hey, go to XMR Bazaar. And that people might come to it not realizing or completely realizing that it's, for only legal goods and services.
Well, I mean, if they put up...
If it's... Right, but I mean, it's like, it's pretty damn obvious. And so Aaliyah's argument is like, the New York Times has a .onion address, right? It's just there's nothing illegal about having .onion addresses.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing illegal about it. And if somebody comes on and publishes something illegal, then it gets taken down just like it does now.
Yeah, I mean, the only valid concern is that, these feds are looking for any excuse to fuck with us. Let's be honest.
The CIA has an onion address.
I know, but when you see what they, which case was it that the guy, basically the evidence that they were submitting was the fact that he was wearing a T-shirt that...
Oh, the washing machine with tornado
Yeah,
pack?
the washing machine, right? Like, so these are the types of things that they're using, right? So like, oh, they created a .onion address, so they clearly wanted it to be used by criminals. Like, that's the problem.
There is a good
Do I
disclaimer
agree with that? Absolutely not. And is it, do I want to fade away from that so that we're not helping them frame it that way? Like we need, by avoiding it, now we're agreeing with that framing. So, long story short, we will be releasing it. If we see that it's kind of misused and it does lead to an uptick in people posting things that shouldn't be posted on there, maybe we'll delete it. But yeah, Justice, sorry, go ahead, man. What were you saying?
Yeah, it's a peer-to-peer market. I don't really see anybody like putting that on you, like it just being code. But
yeah, and I agree with that too. But that's what they look for. They want to go after.
And
a
I mean,
person,
there
an
is
entity,
moderation.
right?
So if illegal stuff gets put up, then it just gets taken down.
yeah, and there's a
100%.
disclaimer:
This is not a place for that.
only buy what's legal in your jurisdiction. So
Exactly. Yeah, man. Don't hear preaching to the choir on this one. It's just I know how these
that's on
people operate. I know how this mafia operates, right? So,
Well, if they're gonna go after you for having an onion, then they need to go after the New York Times and all the rest of them too.
Exactly.
Facebook.
Long story short, that was the hold up. It was just Anarchio being very slow about it, not like reluctant, not wanting to touch it. And so now we did it in a way where he's not even a part of the launching of it. We hired somebody to launch the .onion for us. Found them on XMR Bazaar, by the way, which was awesome.
We love onions. Oh, speaking of XMR Bazaar, though, I did notice something. You might want to take down your Monerotopia ad for doing social media for Monero 2026.
Oh, okay.
It's over already.
Yeah.
I was looking through the job listings, and it's like, promote our conference on social media, Monerotopia 2026. I'm like, that already happened.
Awesome. Yeah, and a lot. We got more coming down the pipe for XMR Bazaar, and then Anon Bazaar. We are adding THORChain at some point. They're raising some funds to contribute, which is awesome. And we're adding Xano. That's going to happen. So, which is super cool. And with Xano, it's going to be cool because they have confidential assets. So you'll effectively be able to use private stable coins on Anon Bazaar. They have wrapped DAI, that's private, XDAI, I think they call it. And then there's Freedom Dollar as well. So very curious to see how that plays out. If there's an actual desire to use those things has been hypothesized, right? That people that actually trade with crypto want a stable coin, right? If you're selling something, they may not all be Monero bro maxis. Might just be somebody who's trying to sell stuff somewhat anonymously for digital cash, but doesn't want to have to deal with the volatility. I know Shortwave, as I'm saying this, you're like,
Yeah, I'm sitting here like
that's
the
a
real
them problem.
stablecoin
They're the
Monero.
ones who aren't viewing it correctly. But the reality is, people do. A lot of people value their wealth in their local currency, and they live by it. So if they receive $10 today and tomorrow it's $5 US dollars value, might be a problem for them if they have to pay some bill or something, right? They don't like the volatility of that. Arguably is a flaw of a true crypto like Monero and Bitcoin. So curious to see if that's an actual desire, need, utility, if that actually fills a gap and people start using a private stablecoin on a marketplace like this.
When you value your life in Monero, one Monero today is worth one Monero tomorrow, which is worth one Monero 10 years from now.
Sure. Do you think people like vendors will want to accept stablecoins?
I think they will. Stablecoins have their use case, although you've just got to be careful about which stablecoins you take. Like I heard somebody talk about, in the news, I don't know if you saw it, but Iran is taking Bitcoin for transits across the Strait of Hormuz now. And
Yes.
somebody said something about Tether, and I'm like, that would be a terrible idea because it would be frozen immediately.
Yeah. Didn't they want to use the Trump stablecoin thing? I heard that, which is crazy. The
I
world.
feel like people will use everything except Monero. I don't know why.
I mean, that would make the most sense, right? Everybody. And it was interesting too, because in that article or whatever, where it was coming from, saying that they were considering or using Bitcoin, it was because they added privacy as being one of the reasons. Whoops.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how are these guys not learning that yet? I don't know. That's wild. I mean, the thing with Monero though is the liquidity. It should be able to handle that, and I guess obviously the idea is that everything would grow in response if it started to be used for bigger value purchases like that.
Yeah,
but that might be one
grow.
of the reasons why, right? Even if they were receiving Monero directly, I'm sure they would be looking to move it into Bitcoin.
Well, if they were to receive Monero, they could just hold it and use it for things.
Yeah, they can use it on XMR Bazaar.
Yeah, man. Stop certificate. No, they will not. They cannot because is it a sanctioned country or the sanctions are off now, right? Or they're back on?
I don't know.
Or were they ever off? I don't know. During the ceasefire. No, I guess that would have been one of the deals, right? If they brokered the deal. The deal is now off, by the way. The markets have been wild. Excited to hear Bawdy's take on everything. I've regretfully been continuing to play in the markets a little bit. Oh man, it's literally a gamble. You're literally just gambling everything at this point. If you're trying to move stuff around, because it's at the whim of Trump, and he's greatly affecting the markets with everything he does. The price of oil, I guess, is probably now on the way back up, given the latest news, which is that the deal fell. There is no deal. They were trying to broker a deal this weekend. J.D. Vance went to Pakistan and met with the Iranian officials, and they weren't able to agree on, I think, the nuclear stuff. And
how recent
and
is
I think
this
the
news?
strait. This broke last night, and then Trump has been on a tirade ever since, just like making it worse. Like, oh, we're back to we're gonna destroy you. Like, oh man, like, oh boy. Like, I think right now the latest thing he put out was now it's like, well, if we can't go to the strait, nobody goes to the strait. So now I think the U.S. is locking down the Strait of Hormuz, which that seems like, right? It's like you're in a battle and you put a gun to your own head. You're like, oh yeah. I don't know, right? That's what we need, the Strait of Hormuz open. That's what it's all about from our standpoint. That's what we're really gunning for.
Okay, and this is why I don't pay attention to the news.
And then now it's like we're the ones that are gonna keep the strait closed. Almost is my understanding. Trump just put out a tweet on. We could bring this up in the news if I can find it. If I get that ready. But yeah, things are changing minute to minute. But it looks like right now they've.
Yeah, that's a feature, not a bug.
Right? I mean, the market manipulation is insane.
There were times previously, before the Trump admin, like a year and a half ago, you could trade on the basis of kind of technicals. You could look at what's going on. I don't know, the macro, etc. This is not a macro technical scenario that we're in. We're in a news cycle scenario. You have to trade, you have to be on that shit. You need some kind of AI agent to be monitoring everything. You need your RSS feed, etc. Exactly. And you got to trade that news immediately.
Yeah. Exactly. Which I kind of like, because I'm interested in that as opposed to the, looking at the charts and being like, oh, the moving average. I feel like the TA stuff has kind of gone out the window. Like you're saying, it really is kind of based on narrative. And I still see these TA guys and they're like, well, the narrative just follows the TA. I'm like, what? I'm like, no way, man. I'm like, Trump just randomly caused that. It wasn't it's not in the statistics. I don't know. I think we've spoken about this before, but I just have a hard time swallowing that.
But it means a lot less than it used to.
Yeah, but I just still see people being like, oh, well, that was going to come the charts were showing that anyway. Like what? Really? I don't know. I don't know how people get there. You're not there, right, Bawdy? You agree that there's two things going on. There's statistics, but then there's essentially black swan events that throws everything out the window. And Trump is a talking black swan event. His action, every single one is unpredictable.
Are you calling Trump a giant bird?
Every time he opens up his mouth, it's a black swan speaking. It's insane.
We have an XMR chat. The consummate consumer tipped 1 Monero, and he says, at least there's no insider trading 15 minutes before Trump tweets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
no, definitely. There's absolutely not any insider trading before Trump tweets, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course not.
no.
Yeah, the
Conspiracy
amount,
theorists.
trillions. That's crazy too, because it's like huge markets they're moving. Like, oh look, price of gold moved 30% in one day. Like you're talking trillions there that could be manipulated. It's insane, insane. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how closely you've been following everything, buddy. Right, but I think that's where we're at. Like the ceasefire fell apart, or I guess there's still a ceasefire, but the negotiations have fallen apart. And now it's like everything's tanking again. Oil's going up. Buddy, are you there?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah, you can expect them to jack the markets around. They're going to declare peace, and then they're going to declare problems and tensions, and they're going to fire missiles at each other again. Then they're going to be like, wait, just kidding. No, it's fine. We actually found another peace deal. And then war is going to break out again. So
Whole time not even communicating.
Say again.
I said, the whole time they're not even having discussions or nothing.
Exactly. Like, who knows? Like, what's actually happening? I mean, I kind of think that the gentlemen agreed to go to war. They're like, well, maybe we should go to war. Yeah, that's a good idea, old chum. Yes, let's go to war. And it serves various purposes. I mean, there are things that are happening that indicate that there is like truly a global sea change. There's a financial, like France, for example, pulled all of its gold reserves back into France. So one of the things that happened in Bretton Woods after World War II is everyone stored their gold with the United States in the Federal Reserve. And France is a big example of people who have been pulling their gold back to their own country. They did that this past week. So does that mean gold is going to fly? Not exactly. It did okay this week, but it's more of a sign of the times, right? It's a sign of kind of the sea change in the monetary system. So there's this question of, well, with all of that happening, is the United States going to start wars across the world, and like true fucking wars? Maybe, but I still kind of sit on the side that this is more like playing more, pretending more, using more as a means to move markets.
So yeah, here's a story. Justin, so when did this drop? At 9 a.m. So like 2 hours ago. So I don't know if anything's happened since. Trump orders the U.S. Navy to blockade the Strait of Hormuz to any and all ships trying to enter or leave. Also instructing the U.S. Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in the international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. So they're stopping the ships that have like paid these tolls, and then we're getting passage. So now I guess the U.S. government stepping in and essentially sanctioning, like stopping Iran from receiving payment for allowing these ships to go through. So I guess they're even going after the ones that already made it through. Yeah, in international waters, they're going to go after the ones. I mean, that's just insane. So like that's complete back in the other direction now. That's like a complete oil pump. That's like an oil. That's insane oil pump. We're going to see like 130 oil this week. Maybe not 130.
Great.
Yeah. And I got pulled back in on my crypto. Oh, man. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to ride it. But I didn't think it would get this bad. Jesus. But who knows? It could swing back. It could swing back in another tweet. We made a deal.
This is why I don't trade. I just hold Monero.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to do that, but you could do it with the stack. I don't recommend it. It's a waste of time, but it is fun too. So there, yeah, here's Trump's tweet. So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and the leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I've also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. So Trump is basically, yeah, it's either going to be completely closed or completely open. So now he's completely closing it. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone. Their air force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with the blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up with the little that is left of Iran. President Donald Trump.
And it's only cost $48.7 billion US as of now.
Yeah, not to mention the economic hit, the inflation from the oil. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Crazy. So
just
I'm curious. I'm
itself.
just curious. Obviously, I'm kind of, in some weird way, enjoying this. Obviously, I don't like the fact that people are dying, but enjoying the drama. Very curious to see what happens next. What do you guys think? What is I know Bawdy's saying things will go back and forth, but do you think we get an open strait at some point? Does Trump pull it off and reopen the strait fully?
I honestly could give a rat's ass less.
Even if it gets open, there's still going to be somebody with a rocket launcher just hanging out and ready to blow.
Right? Like, how do you ever eliminate the one guy with the rocket? Yeah, that's tough.
Or like a
You
drone.
have, you have those mountains there, those granite mountains.
Yeah, we've already pissed off a whole nation and people. So
Yeah.
that's sure to last a while.
I guess Trump, they just start trying to pretend like it doesn't matter that the strait is closed, I guess is what ends up happening. I don't really know. All right. Well, we have Bawdy up here, so we might as well go ahead and do price report. And then I'll put some news links together. We just I think that is the biggest news, non-crypto related, but crypto related in that it's affecting the prices for sure. Bitcoin has, as of this morning, last night, started to, tank again, pull back. Will be interesting to see though if Bitcoin shrugs it off, like it kind of has been, in my opinion. Like as oil's been going up, market's been crashing, crypto, Bitcoin in particular, have been handling it pretty well. It's not finding new bottoms. It's even kind of going up against the rest of the market at times. And then when it's completely risk on, like Bitcoin and crypto kind of taking the lead there and going up even more than the NASDAQ. But now it feels like NASDAQ's going to get hit. Everything's going to get hit hard on Monday. I don't know. Like I said, it could change. Trump could send out another tweet like the strait is fully open, whatever. We made a deal. I doubt it's going to happen that fast. So it looks like next week will be a pullback with everything. Oil goes up. But we'll be curious to see if Bitcoin maybe hits its bottom faster. Not a new bottom, but like even now, maybe it doesn't go down that much. But yeah, Bawdy, I guess take it away. Justice, you want to run the price?
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exelix, privacy-first multi-chain swap aggregator designed for seamless instant swaps. Exchange XMR instantly with the fully non-custodial, KYC-free experience and secure execution across hundreds of blockchains.
Alrighty. Bawdy, you there?
Hey, yeah, sorry.
All right,
I'm still setting up here a little bit. Let me get my screen
no
share
worries,
going
no
on.
worries. No worries.
All right, should be sharing now.
Okay. Bada beep, bada boop. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so there's actually not that much to talk about, believe it or not, with price. I know it seems like a lot of stuff has been happening, but I think that's also kind of the point, right? They want to make it seem like things are happening. Starting with Monero this week, there's no reason to really launch into a tirade about the macro. Just to be clear, I do think that the stats are like they're useful, they're reasonable, but they're not going to be good short-term things for us to look at. We can use them in the sense to say, okay, what's out of trend, what's in trend, what's out of trend. But it doesn't seem to me that we're going to be able to use stats as like kind of the algorithmic sort of trading style that in certain regimes and certain market profiles, like that's a really good way to trade. I don't think this is one of those profiles, and I think that's why starting right around that Trump presidency, we had some problems trying to do that. But this is markets, right? Markets aren't just static; they're not just dumb, like sterile kinds of things. You have to learn how markets behave, and then you have to adapt yourself because markets are a living, breathing organism. Like you have to change the way your mind thinks to sort of adapt to what that organism is doing. Think of it like hunting, right? Some people think of it as fishing. You could think of it as fishing. That's fine. You could also think of it as hunting, but you're dealing with an organism here. You're dealing with people in an aggregated sense. And, Trump is one of those people, and you just have to understand his context and the bigger picture. So I think the big thing that we said last week was that expect markets to move sideways. Expect chop for all the assets that we care about: gold, crypto, oil. I think we pretty clearly said last week, you have to, you're going to have to wait and see what the news tells you to do when it comes to the oil trade. We'll get back to macro in a second, but money, like we said, money moves, changes hands, changes positions, but it doesn't go to money heaven or money hell. It just changes where it's at. For the most part, with some caveats. Okay, so anyways, here's Monero, and you can see we've done a whole lot of nothing, right? Nothing's happening. Monero moved up a little bit, moved down a little bit the past few days. Nothing really here that's all that interesting, honestly, in the Monero price chart. Let's go to the 1 hour. Let's try to find something, right? Let's see what we can do, if we can maybe find something to look at. And the answer is not really, right? There's nothing here. We're sitting here in the standard deviation bands, right? Orange and blue. And you can expect that Monero is probably for the next week going to continue doing exactly what it's been doing for the past couple weeks. It's going to stay range bound more or less, except for little wicks. And so this is where stats can actually kind of help you, serve you. Right now, in a fundamental sense, in a news sense, we've seen all the Iran and the oil and all that stuff happening. And what has crypto done? Nothing, right? It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone down. And that's useful, okay? If you're a trader, that shit is useful because right now, statistics can actually inform, a technical analysis can actually inform what you're going to do in a trading sense. This wick right here, that was an opportunity to sell Monero if you really wanted to, or this guy down here, that was an opportunity to buy, because crypto's in this profile right now where things aren't really going to change, right? Nothing big is going to happen just quite yet. There's still another down leg to come for crypto, but we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. And at the moment, things have kind of gone into that long kiss goodnight, right? They're just chopping sideways, and you can kind of expect that to continue happening. So because of that expectation, and we can talk more about the macro on that, but in general, you can expect crypto to be sideways, not really doing anything, with a forecast of eventually down, but we don't know exactly when down, which means you can do things like trade the range, right? Range trading is a dangerous choice in markets that are moving one direction or another. But we're kind of in that zone where you can trade that moving average, and I know a certain someone on the show is gonna be really happy about that, right? Shortwave has been telling us about the moving average for a long time. You might have to change which moving average you're looking at in particular, right? We got to go a little bit more short term time frame to hit that moving average, but not terribly short term. So effectively, Monero, we're probably looking at, I wouldn't say range bound, but we're looking at ranging between about 360 and 300. Those are good traits to take. Those are things that you can kind of leverage, from one side to the other. And I don't want to like cause a self-fulfilling prophecy here, kind of like our stablecoin price at 150 back for a couple years ago. But right now, that's kind of what we're looking at here for Monero. It's what we're looking at for crypto in general. There's a couple exceptions to that. Is there anything here that we really want to look at? Not really. There's the XMR BTC price. Nothing happened again. We're looking at We're looking at a measly 0.5% of Bitcoin's market cap, Bitcoin's price. It's kind of where we've been forever. Don't expect this to change much. I don't know. Right now, this has kind of the bias. It feels like it's going to go down. Just looking at the chart, my feels, it looks like this thing wants to kind of move towards the downside. I guess, I don't know. But there's the real story here happened with our favorite privacy shitcoin, Zcash, and also I think our Justin Sun coin, Tron, has also been pumping, and I think there was like another couple coins that pumped. I don't remember exactly which ones they were, but yeah. So Zcash pumped. We're looking at here from the like absolute bottom to the top. We're looking at about a 2x. Yeah, I mean Zcash pumped so much, right? So the volatility is still really high. So like a minor pump for Zcash is still like it's still a 2x. This is another coin that you can probably range trade. It's difficult to believe that Zcash is just going to magically break out and beat all the other coins. I don't think that I believe that that's actually going to happen. But maybe it can make this standard deviation band, right? Maybe it can make the 500 level. That's a good sell point, by the way. If you're holding Zcash and you were looking to get out and it makes it up here, that's a good sell point. I don't know, guys. I told you before, in my opinion, my humble, not so humble 33rd degree anarchist opinion is that Zcash is kind of going to be one of these coins that they're going to support. This action doesn't happen accidentally, right? So this action right here, right? You don't just accidentally whoopsie daisy do a fucking 20x out of nowhere. Like that doesn't happen. This was orchestrated. This was supported by the suits. This was supported by whoever, whatever, doesn't matter. They quote unquote are supporting Zcash price. You can expect them to continue doing that. And sorry, drinking some coffee over here. Yeah, you can expect them to continue doing that. They're gonna try and flirt with Monero now, right? They're gonna flirt with our market cap range for some period of time. Oh, will they, won't they? Are they gonna flip? Will they flip all the time? Stupid gay shit like that. Eventually, who knows? If they can manage to bring another real bull market to bear, right? If they can actually somehow capture the attention of noobs and bring them into crypto, that's going to be much harder than it used to be. We're talking like way harder. Everybody knows about crypto. Everybody's heard about Bitcoin. It's not a question of can they buy. Everyone can buy. At this point, millions have had the billions have had the opportunity. Billions have had the opportunity to buy. So whatever, I don't know, guys, like just accept it. You could probably trade this guy if you really wanted to. And the more people that can successfully trade Zcash also help to prevent it from like breaking out and doing like shit that we don't like. I don't really care about Zcash. They can like have a high market cap. I just don't like that they're a distraction from actual digital freedom money. I don't like that it pays off the corporate suits. Here's another coin we got to talk about. I'm sorry, Fluffy, but bro, this shit is fucked. Now, I'm not going to complain. This was spaghetti at the wall. I said, hey, you could lose it all. Well, this is one of those cases where you lose it all. Even I bought like fucking down here, guys, and I've lost it all. What is that? Like I'm sitting here minus 80%, right? It's not total loss, but Jesus, that's a big loss, right? From what I thought was a nice like potential bottoming pattern, and then we just went straight down. Just fucking took the stairs all the way down. When you take the stairs down, that's so bad. Like you take the elevator down, but taking the stairs down, God, that's a sign of steady selling of somebody that's got a lot of this coin and they're just progressively pushing their coin onto the market. So yeah, I guess, Ricardo took a break from Monero and now he's actually, there was kind of a news item. You guys, maybe we'll cover it later, but it sounds like he's into Wagyu. Sounds like he's into XMR1, the poly market.
Yeah, like where did that come from? Like, because he's tweeted like like a month ago that he was stepping away from everything. Made it sound like it wasn't just a Atari thing, but he wasn't working on anything crypto related, taking a break. And then Tari proceeded to crash more than it already was. And then this week he was like, hey, now I'm working on this Wagyu thing. That's
I mean, he was
so I guess he's back.
He's been looking for people, for supporters, and so Fluffy's now, and I don't think he's back. I think he's just an advisor. That was kind of his tweet was that he's an advisor, and advising means basically nothing in crypto. Like I don't know if you remember 2018, like that was the thing. Like I'm a crypto advisor. I'm a what do we have back then? ICO, initial coin offerings. I'm an ICO advisor, right? That was kind of like.
I mean, he's probably paying him to market it too, right? I'm sure they have some agreement. Maybe not. Maybe he's just doing it out of I don't know. But
it's possible that Fluffy actually agrees, with the idea of the project. I mean, it's centralized, sure, but it's not any more centralized than the rest of the swap exchanges. So
yeah, I'm not against the Wagyu guy, and I want to have them on, and they may end up being a sponsor at some point. I wouldn't be, unless we find that there's something nefarious about them, but they're basically just another version of a kind of an instant swap. At the end of the day, in terms of trust level, right? So, and it's interesting. I mean, they have a ton of volume going through it, so kudos to them for sure.
There's alleged volume. We can't
yeah.
really parse what that volume actually is, right?
I mean, it does seem like when Monero went on its big pump, they were putting out all this messaging on how they were getting all these trades, but you're saying that might not be the case.
Well, what I'm saying is that the fact that they were kind of associated with that scam pump to 800, that's a sign that maybe something is happening in the background, right? We're talking like peripheral, circumstantial kind of stuff here, but I look at that and I think, yeah, you guys came on the scene, XMR pumped to 800, and then came back down to like it's rational price here. Maybe not that rational, but 350-ish. And I asked myself, did you guys have anything to do with that? Are the people behind Wagyu, was that a means of offloading coins? Are they just like, because we know that Bitmain is now in the mining game, right? They don't have ASICs, but they have Monero miners, and they have actually had Monero miners for a year or two now. And I don't know. I wouldn't totally trust those. I don't trust Wagyu, and I don't think anyone should. But that doesn't mean you should trust like Exelix or anybody else. Like they're the sponsor, and we're glad that Exelix provides a service, and that's great. But you shouldn't trust any of these centralized guys, right? Like get on.
Right, I'd put them in the same category, right? And they haven't really done. I mean, as far as we know, nobody's been like kind of ripped off or. I mean, a Wagyu, it would be harder, right? I'm not exactly sure how it works.
Not at all.
No. Okay.
Nah. Well, Wagyu could just exit scam and just like not redeem anything.
It would just be all the current trades that they have out, right?
Yeah, everyone in XMR1 would be stuck in XMR1, and they'd never be able to get out, hypothetically, right? If they wanted to exit scam, that's what they do. So, but exit scammers usually wait for their like prime moment to do that. They don't just like immediately exit scam if they're smart. I don't think Cal is going to exit scams. Like, I don't even think that. Like, I'm just saying that, it's centralized. Everyone should be using RetoSwap. Honestly, like that's the thing. Everyone should be like putting the volume into RetoSwap, not Polymarket. But I get it. I'm a fucking DJ and I gamble. I gamble. So if you're trying to get on Polymarket and take some trades, I mean that's a thing to do, right? That you could use XMR1, and it does seem right now like Cal is trying to gain reputation. So you're probably fine. Like, don't quote me on. Don't come back and knock on my door and find my pictures and figure out where.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean they reached out to me actually during Monerotopia, and essentially were trying to get me to participate. Maybe not in the way Fluffy is, but they wanted me to be a part of it. And I didn't say no. I just wasn't really paying. Was busy after the conference.
Yeah, use RetoSwap or Basic Swap.
Yeah, we should be pushing those for sure. And THORChain is going to be adding Monero. That's going to be tremendous in my mind.
Tremendous.
I mean, that's huge. That's going to be the first like real DEX that we're on that has a lot of liquidity.
It's going to be excellent. It's going to be the best thing in the world. I'm telling you.
I mean, it is what Sarai was supposed to be, but I don't know when we're getting Sarai, so I'm pretty excited about the THORChain thing, right? Well, I mean, what's comparable to it? It should take on the liquidity that this Wagyu thing has. I mean, it should be able to.
Yeah, THORChain finally adding a Monero 4 years later.
Yeah, it's a little upsetting that it took so long, but what's cool is they're really into it now. Like,
I think they're begrudgingly into it. I think they have to pretend to be into it. I don't believe THORChain. Like, if they really loved Monero, they would have added it 4 years ago, and it wouldn't have been a question. It would have just been like, yeah, of course we have Monero. That's like the base pair. That's the fucking thing we need to have on this on our THORChain, because it's for all the reasons we already know. But they didn't do that, and then they kept like will they, won't they? They kept like dangling that carrot in front of us, and we're like, oh, could you please add us? You know, we gotta be on THORChain. And now I'm just kind of like, well, fuck you guys. Like, I don't like.
Well,
maybe,
but there were also there were two issues though. There was them not wanting to take the risk of dealing with the privacy coin and thinking that they're gonna, you know, whatever, lose, I don't know, VC funding from, I don't know what they're really thinking with that. And the other thing is, technically they were saying like Monero wasn't really ready, or they weren't able to easily figure it out given their current architecture. And I think my understanding is there's been some changes on the THORChain side that have now made it easier to implement Monero.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a plausible explanation.
And plus now they feel like the environment in terms of Monero being more accepted legally or whatnot, that it's less risk adding Monero. So should they have been more badass about it? Yes. But then also there is the technical aspect of, I guess it could have been done, but they would have been putting a lot of resources. It wasn't like just a quick, easy add. It was like they had to really figure shit out. Once again, if they were truly crazy for Monero, they would have figured it out. But I'm happy they're doing it now. The guy, we had them at the first Monerotopia, they were there, and we were talking, like, that's when we were really trying to get it going. We had them. They gave a talk with Haven, because Haven was the one that was doing basically the coding, the implementation work on the Monero side, since they were a fork of Monero, and then that whole thing fell apart. And but the guy who was there, Chad Bradford, I think his name is, he was always very pro Monero, and he was, you know, he's one of like the founders or early guys at THORChain, one of the main devs. He always talked about it, even from the early days, is like, I would love to make this happen. So he was always on the side of making it happen, even regarding the potential legal risks. He was definitely one of the more cypherpunk guys. So,
okay, yeah, I mean, hopefully something good comes out of that. It does sound like, I mean, let's be honest. We all know that Monero has been added to a lot of fucking stuff. Like ransomware uses it. We see it. Dark nets are like, use Monero. What are you doing? Like, stop using Bitcoin. Yeah, we've seen Monero adoption happen in a lot of places. Sometimes unexpected places or less expected places. So the reality is that I think we're finally seeing some alignment with with these quote unquote decentralized exchanges adding Monero. I think we're finally seeing some alignment there. And Monero's here to stay. Like, the botnets aren't going away, guys. And it's too easy to make money just by like putting a botnet on everybody's router, right? By infecting some like IoT devices, whatever, and like grabbing some free Monero. That's only going to grow. And I think we're kind of actually, Monero is at this kind of like stable point where it's like, yeah, it's going to be here as long as the code doesn't fail. Monero is going to continue to be here. So I think that's interesting. I think that's good. We have a few XMR chats. I don't know if you want to put them up on the screen, but we have Big Booty Latina. Maybe come visit me in Mexico. Sounds like you're around the area. Tipped 1 Monero. Can you look at Quai Network body? Yeah, sure. Here's Quai Network. I don't see anything interesting with this chart except for they sometimes pump. They take the elevator up and the stairs down. This is not the kind of thing you want to see on a chart. Yeah, you really don't want to see taking the elevator up and the stairs down. That's a sign of centralized supply. And I've said this a lot of times. It's not any surprise. This is how a chart behaves when the supply is very centralized. Now, I'm sure that they probably have some kind of like, but it's not centralized, bro. This is not a centralized supply coin. I have no idea. I'm just looking at the fucking chart and I see elevator up, stairs down. I think to myself, I'm a simple man, right? The elevator up, stairs down means centralized supply. That's true of XRP. It's true of Tari. It's true of Quai. I guess, I don't know. I haven't verified those claims, bro. You're going to have to ask your own ChatGPT. Don't ask ChatGPT. Go to, I guess, Claude. Maybe Claude or Gemini. Those are better. ChatGPT is a gaslighting sociopathic motherfucker. Don't use it anymore. It's useless. It's fucking useless. I don't even know what they're trying to do with that. I guess it's for, like, ChatGPT is for the absolute fucking pleb level normie that doesn't know shit. Okay, stop using that. Use something else that gives you slightly better information. Anyways, yeah, sorry, Big Booty Latina. Quai is probably not going to be your ticket to, I don't know, riches, fortune, and fame. If you get back to the all-time high, you're looking at about a 4x. A lot of coins can do a 4x, you know. A lot of coins can make a 4x. And here's the other thing, like, these kind of coins can languish sideways for a long time. It can do sideways forever, months and months, and money has a time value. So if you languish sideways forever and you haven't like done anything, nothing has happened, well, then you basically lost money. You've lost time. You've lost opportunity cost. Anyways, I wouldn't look at Quai as being, you know, necessarily your ticket, your golden ticket here. The app saver also tipped 0.1 millionaire, and he says at this point, the traditional system is the main driver that pushes people into crypto. Every time someone hyper compliant realizes that even she is presumed to be a criminal until proven otherwise, belief in the traditional system dies. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, right? Like, every time that you think that so that's like a very good defensive strategy, right? To just think, hey, they already think I'm a criminal. You know, how am I going to navigate that reality? How am I going to limit the damage? I think that's a good way to navigate, even if you're like squeaky clean, even if you're corporately, you know, doing all the good stuff, right, and registering and etc. Just like assume that they think you're a criminal because you're using Monero, and like manage your shit that way, right? Could be manage the way you talk, manage your filings, manage all this other stuff. It's warfare, guys. Like, the corporate system is warfare by other means. It's economic warfare, and you just have to understand that's where we're playing. And you might not get attacked, but you might not be worth attacking. So that doesn't mean to seek attackers. So that's like the latest thing. It's not the latest thing, but like for the past, like, you know, 3, 4, 5 years, people talking about their attackers, like, oh god, they all attacking me because, you know, bro, I'm so fly, or so riz, I'm so high level. People want what I have, and now they just taking me down. Like, no, bro, like, you can't just like say that you're being attacked to make it look like you're the opposite of the bad thing. All right, anyways, let's keep going here. We're fucking bogging down on nonsense. Okay, so we talked about privacy shitcoins. What's going on? Zcash pump, Minotari dump. Xano had their big pump, I guess, and now they're, you know, they got to pull back some. This looks like one of those statistical things. They got stopped out at one of the like headliner moving averages. Standard deviations. Probably they're going to try and hang out. You know, this will be a nice support zone. You could probably maybe trade Xano for a little bit of a pump here. Let's look. 17%. I wouldn't. The problem with these coins, like, I need to see a coin doing something like Zcash to trade it. Like, if I really want to go trading like a degen, I want to see. Let's go to the 1 hour here. Oh, we are on the 1 hour. I want to see moves that happen on the order of 2x, right? I want to be able to get in and out and make 30%, 50% on a nice move. When we're talking about Xano here on the other side, like, what are you going to trade here on Xano? You're going to trade with the hope of 16% with what? With like a 30% downside. That's hard for me to look at this coin and think I should trade Xano, right? I'm looking for coins that have the potential to actually like truly move up. And okay, like, this thing did pump. That was a 70% move, but you know, that was a news-based move. If you have a little bit of early access to the news, if you're paying attention, okay, maybe you could grab that pump. But right now, like, if you're an algorithm trader, statistics, whatever, like, you're not going to trade Xano. This is a lot of downside that could happen, with not really much upside. I mean, this is a hard fucking, like, seeing that. Look at that stuff. I mean, guys, come on, like, that spot, right? Like, it's a hard fucking stop. Like, it couldn't get above that. It's hard to think it's just gonna magically pump above that all of a sudden. Like, it's not. That doesn't mean it's gonna crash. I'm just saying, like, it's something I couldn't trade. It wouldn't look. That's not something that looks good to trade. Cubic also had a little pump. They got up to, I guess, the moving average. Interesting. Okay. Usually the moving averages aren't something I pay that much attention to, much to the chagrin of shortwave. Just playing, bro. But anyways, yeah, so they pumped here and now they're dumping. What is this kind of move? Probably like 30%, 40%. Maybe they're going to try and find like some kind of bottoming pattern here. That maybe I want them to bottom and go up just so that we can see them attack Dogecoin, which they're not going to do. They're just going to attack Monero. Like, that's what they tried to pretend we're going to attack Dogecoin. No, you're not. You're just here to attack Monero, you fucking Fed fag. Anyways, moving on. Pirate Chain doing nothing to talk about there. Let's go to crypto, right? Let's look at the rest of crypto. Tron is still just like crushing everybody. I don't know, but they're coming for your soul. Justin Sun, USDT, Tether, fucking China. I don't know. Like, just throw some words out there. Tron seems to be doing good. And, this is actually one thing that we talked about years ago. We said anything that is hosting USDT and doing a lot of volume is going to be something that continues, that stays, that's relevant. And Tron is kind of like number 2 to Ethereum. It's an EVM and it hosts a lot of USDT. So it's not surprising that Tron is, kind of crushing the market right now. Expect that to. Tron is set up in a way. Let's just go to the chart. I hate looking at Tron, but I feel like a fraud when we look at TRX USD. But let's look at the crypto chart that shows the full picture, guys. This chart is nice. This chart is setting up to do good things in the future. Like, if everybody else is in a bear market and sucking ass, right? If everyone else is down here, Tron is already at the top of their fucking range. And I mean, look at this. We had this big blow off that happened, right? Late 2025. And again, Tron made it back up there again. And now it's like it's flirting with with that area, right? That's the zone that it's playing with. If a bull market kicks off again, Tron is going to be the coin to just like pump. Like, the shit's going to pump, guys. I'm not telling you that we're in a bull market. We're going to a bull market anytime soon. It could take till next year, whatever. But Tron is like setting itself up to fucking, maybe pump. It's a better looking chart than most of crypto. We'll just say that. Let's go back to Z-score. So Tron is up here. Sure, whatever. Russia uses it. China uses it, right? Justin Sun, they got their boy. Probably he, I don't know. Justin Sun, wink twice if you're under duress. I don't know. Anyways, let's go to Bitcoin. Again, nothing happening. We talked about this. We said, don't expect anything to happen. Expect range-bound sideways action. That's exactly what we're saying here. At some point, at this point, like with this chart looking kind of the long-term, it's a daily chart. It's not that long-term. But expect Bitcoin to eventually make it back to 80,000. People are going to be like, we're so back. But we're not going to be so back. It's just going to be a way of like taking money from plebs. So look for like, what is it currently right there? About 76 to maybe 78, right? We're looking to hit these bands. That's what's going to happen. Doesn't have to happen this week. I'm just telling you it's going to happen at some point, and that's going to be a fake out. Maybe you'll even get a wick that goes above that. Beautiful sell opportunity, guys. If a wick above these orange bands happens, if Bitcoin in the next week happens to hit 82,000, that is sell. That's sell all the way. Like, fucking sell that shit. And I know that's going to piss off some of the, none of the maxis are listening, so I can say whatever I want. Doesn't matter. Total crypto market cap also looking basically the same, right? Nothing has changed here either. Maybe total crypto market cap could pump 8%, 9%, 10%. That's about the best you can get here. It probably wouldn't even be, I don't know, I guess it depends on the news. Trump said they're going to close the straits after they said they were going to open the straits, and Iran is accepting Bitcoin. So I don't know, maybe reversal, right? Whatever. Let's go into the macro. So nothing with crypto. It's going to trend sideways. Don't expect anything to happen. Bitcoin dominance has like reached another little like interim wave peak point. And now it came back down. Well, imagine that, like perfect adherence to the statistical pattern. Crypto is in the range that you can trade it statistically, trade it with range, right? Range trade that shit. Sell when it gets like out of trend, slightly almost out of trend. Buy when it gets, well, out of trend, right? So in this market profile, you can actually use statistics to help you make money, right? This is fucking opportunity. You can look at this and say, hey, I'm going to buy some shitcoins now, right? And, obviously look at the total market cap, etc. Use at your own risk. But anyways, let's go to the macro. That's really the only thing actually happening in the markets right now is the macro. So gold managed to make a little bit of a rebound, but let's look at oil. Let's talk about oil, because that oil is the macro right now. Like remember back in the day, like in the olden times when we used to look at the reverse repos and we said, oh my God, the reverse repos, they're still falling. And that means money's moving into the market and the bull market's still on, right? They don't matter. That chart is irrelevant now. I just set it there to highlight, I don't know, nothing. Oil now is in this kind of regime profile range where, it could take some consolidation time before oil actually breaks out to new all-time highs. I think that so we talk a lot. Let me be very clear if I can. We talk a lot about news cycles and events that change how the markets operate. Trump gets on, he tweets, something moves 2x, oil pumps from 80 to 100. That doesn't change the fundamental landscape though. Like, we're still looking at at macroeconomics, and as I kind of joked earlier, like the macroeconomics is over, but it's not. It's not really over. It's just that you have to temper the way that you look at short-term and medium-term moves. The weeks-long time frame. You have to temper the way you look at that in terms of understanding that now the thing that moves markets is Trump flapping his mouth or some tweet from whoever, Barron, could be anyone. Elon has already he's already spent all of his social capital trying to pump the Doge father bullshit back like 5 years ago, and he's not really that relevant anymore. Anyways, the markets, the news cycle now is the thing that moves markets, and for as long as Trump is in office, that's probably going to continue to be the case. So we're looking here at the weekly time frame on oil. Let's go to the monthly, actually. So this chart's easy to understand on a monthly time frame. It's just that any moves that we would predict from this chart are going to take months to play out. That's just how words work. No, anyway, so oil probably wants to do this here. At some point, it's going to break out of this guy right here. I know last week I was kind of saying, hey, expect like 150 for oil, and maybe, but we can't quite call that. We can't quite say, I want to revise a little bit of my expectation here that I put out into the ether last week. Is that, yeah, eventually oil is going to make 150, but when? It could take some time to get there, right? Like at this moment, the way that things have unfolded, Iran is feeling a lot more like support the price of oil, do some insider trading, jack the markets around. It doesn't feel, I mean, yes, it's also true that there is kind of a sea change with the monetary system happening. So this is also probably related to that. But it's still hard for me to look at this and think that they're really like, like this is it, right? This is the big one. It's over. Like it's hard for me to really think that. So is oil going to make 150 this week? I extremely doubt that. Is it going to make it this month? I extremely doubt that. I don't think we're going to make 150 even like in the next month or two. Could things just like kind of, spin another couple candles like sideways and then pump? Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think that actually serves like the deep state, corporate intel interests, etc. So right now, this kind of pattern we're looking at here on the daily, this doesn't look like super duper strength. It looks like, hey, we feel like strength, and yeah, we're doing good. This feels like sideways chop. It's hard to think, and maybe just volatility, right? Up, down, like that could happen. But it's hard for me to think that oil is actually here to pump to 150 straight away. So the oil trade, it's late, right? It's long in the tooth, as they would say. It's maybe a little bit late to be getting into that. You could trade it. You can trade the news cycles, but you better be fucking Johnny on the spot, right? You better have that news cycle. You better know what Trump is saying within minutes of him saying it, and then trade that. That I'm not encouraging anyone to do that, but that's probably what you got to do here if you want to hit the short-term trades. Personally, I feel like the crypto trade, right? The using the range-bound nature of crypto at the moment, leveraging that into up down, buy sell. I think that's probably a more reliable play right here than it is to try and monitor your RSS feed for the latest Trump tweet. I don't know, but everyone has their own style. Sure, whatever. Why not? Let's go to gold. Gold actually did pretty good. So we've talked about this. Money doesn't go to money heaven, right? It doesn't just disappear. It moves somewhere. It kind of does actually. It goes to money hell. Like when you repay a loan, that just like that money disappears and new money takes its place. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's more maybe it's more Hindu than I thought it was. Right, because you have this like cycle of money that is born and dies and is born again. Anyways, whatever. Gold here actually performed fairly well. This no longer has the feel of this. We called this a bull flag for a moment. We said, yeah, it might be a bull flag. It no longer has quite the feel of a bull flag. It maybe feels like a rising. I mean, it was always kind of a rising wedge, but this doesn't feel like a bull flag in the sense that this was it. It's over, and gold's going to collapse now. Like I don't believe that. That doesn't sound right to me. With France pulling their gold reserves back into France out of the Federal Reserve, or out of New York, whatever. It's hard to really believe that gold is done here, but it might be. Like they're good at that. I think that part of the oil thing was to try and like suspend the gold breakout for a period of time. Maybe, I don't know. And they could probably do this. They could probably continue this for however long, right? If they really want, they can just continue with Iran being their fucking sparring buddy. And then they can keep money in oil because they, sometimes the straits are open, sometimes they're closed. We don't know. And and maybe oil will have gold will have a hard time breaking out in that case. I don't know. Still though, I feel like it seems to me that the macro fundamental, the monetary system, the paradigm, etc., is such that gold is the asset that nation states want to hold. And if nation states want to hold it, probably you should hold it too, I guess. I don't know. Don't don't take that too far. Anyways, this thing actually looks like it wants to break out at some point. And if it does, it'll have some resistance here. We'll be talking in a few weeks, maybe about the resistance at like 5,200. And, in a good scenario, things just hang out at the top and then break out again. Sure, that could take, maybe that takes another month or two. Maybe MoneroCon is the time that gold breaks out. I don't know. But right now, I'm still not selling gold. I can't think of anything else I really want to be in besides, gold and crypto and I guess oil. But now, again, oil feels like you kind of got those gains. Like you needed to be on the front side of that, not the back side. If you were on the front side, you could hold your oil and say, that's a good place to be. If you have outsized gains somewhere else, if you caught a windfall somewhere, then you could put something into oil as a means of diversification. But it's unless you're really playing the news markets, oil isn't something I personally go into. Let's look at the S&P, the NASDAQ. I guess the S&P is fine enough. Let's look at that. Basically, we had a big comeback. So again, money doesn't go to money heaven or money hell. It just rotates to some other position, some other asset. So when it happened that they were like, peace might happen, right? They're like, well, we're going to open the straits and Bitcoin for ships and whatnot. The NASDAQ pumped, right? Big pump, recovered a lot of those losses. This almost kind of looks like a support line. Again, we've talked about this. I hope you guys remember. This line goes back to 1929. And if you guys remember, that was the first blow off that happened. Goes back a long ways. It also connects to the .com top. And now markets are just out of control. They just completely got out of control here for the last year or so. Was this a support? I guess maybe not. If they close the straits and everything goes bad, expect to come back down here. At the moment right now, it wouldn't surprise me if this line becomes the new trend for years. So I don't think it makes sense for the stock market to just crush this line and go, I would say super parabolic if I wanted to be, I don't know, super parabolic about my language. At the moment, guys, so stocks kind of hugged that line, dipped, got above the line, came back to it. I would expect to just oscillate around this line for some period of, I don't know, years probably. That would make a lot of sense. That's kind of how stocks typically work. They don't just go way ahead of themselves. Stocks typically don't just do crazy things. Every now and then they do, but usually not. And right now it's not that kind of market profile where you say that, stocks are going to do crazy. And I know everyone, but the AI, bro, no, fuck the AI. That's not what .com was. .com was way bigger than AI. This was .com was a complete change in the way that the world operates. And sure enough, you're going to try and front run all of that value. And that's what happened with the .com. Right now, yes, this is the AI craze. And okay, we're kind of above that connection point. Anyways, the point is that you can't count on the AI craze to send stocks, to the moon. You can't count on that. So just expect for years. We're going to be talking about this line. It's going to get boring. Sure, whatever, why not? All right, that's stocks. Take a look at the other big stuff. Oh shit, we had a big tick up in inflation. That kind of makes sense, right? With the price of oil pumping, then energy is more expensive, so inflation goes up. We're at 3.4% now. Oh, we gotta watch this, guys. This is something we're gonna have to watch. This is just the beginning of what's probably a larger pump here. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong about that. But inflation right now, with oil prices doing what they're doing, that's going to reverberate throughout the markets for the next few months, next year, and inflation could spike up again. And that would actually be somewhat similar to what happened over here back in the 70s, right? Where you had kind of your first spike on inflation and this sort of echo boom, which is actually bigger than the first one. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're smarter than that. Because they know people are pissed off, so they're going to tread lightly. They're still going to tread. You know what I'm saying? If you know the meme, if you know the yellow meme with the snake. M2 money supply continues growing. Yeah, no surprise there. Nothing here that's actually that interesting. Bonds are probably not going to show us anything. Let's look at bonds. I haven't looked at bonds all week. What's happening with bonds? Nothing continues happening with bonds. Yeah, guys, the market's stable. Things are stable. Just expect to continue trending along the sort of same ideas, trends, patterns as we've seen before. Range trade your crypto at this point. with forecast of eventually down. So like bias yourself to protect against downside. You could probably definitely sell tops for sure. But you need to take more consideration to protect yourself from losses from downside in crypto. Gold probably, I don't know, seems like it's reached a little bit of an interim spot here, but listen, gold could just as easily pump to 5,200. It's the news, right? It's the news. If you really want to trade, if you really like, except for range trading crypto, if you really want to trade, you need to just watch the news, right? Because that's going to tell you where money's moving. If it's moving into oil, it's moving out of gold, it's moving out of stocks. And if it's moving out of oil, it's moving into gold and into stocks at this moment. So that's the way to trade these markets. That's all I got for you guys. Oh wait, we got some XMR chats. So let's see. We have Epstein is not real. I don't know if you guys want to put that on the screen. Epstein is not real says, hey, yo, can yo please look at Toncoin body? Yeah, we'll look at that right now. Let's see here. What do you want to see? Ton BTC? I'm just playing with you. Obviously, you want to see Ton USDT? Nah, let's just do regular crypto. Ton. I keep saying Ton. That it's Ton. Not even how you say it. It's the Telegram coin. So people use this to trade, I don't know, Telegram ads or something. Someone offered me someone offered me a lot of money for my Telegram ad, which I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. And you probably already know anyways. But I'm not going to sell it either. Yeah, Toncoin. Wow, this looks terrible. Holy shit. Toncoin looks like something you could sell right now and like take a short on this coin. This is fucking horrible. It's a terrible chart. Everything is down. Maybe it can figure out how to like stabilize in this range. I don't know. Like that's possible. How much is that? What's the range there? 38%, 40%, and downside probably 20%. I don't really particularly like Toncoin the way it looks. I would not be trying to take a long, although it could perform, right? It's possible. Huh. Okay, so it recently pumped. It's part of the Zcash pumpers, I guess. Here's the thing, man. Sell right here, right there. Sell that spot. This thing maybe could make another pump. I don't know. Personally, I don't think I could trade this coin. That doesn't look like a great trade to me. All right, Anthony Fauci. I don't know why it's misspelled. Anthony Fauci tipped 0.1 Monero. He says, if Epstein is real, then how come his head is so huge? Yeah, I don't know. And the moon is a scam. Also, it's a projection of, I don't know, something about the ether. I think that's just a joke, though. Yeah, I haven't actually looked at his head size. Is his head big? Maybe. I'll let you guys pull that up on the news. Breaking Anthony Fauci's head is large. I think he's just small. I think he's like a small guy, so it's like his head appears larger. But maybe he's just using like a big brain for evil shit. Who knows, bro? Thank you, Anthony Fauci, for the tip. All right, guys, I got nothing else for you unless there's something you guys wanted to see specifically. Hash rate's still the same. Transactions are also basically the same. We tried to get above 25. We still can't. We're oscillating around 25, I guess. Let's go to 3 years all time. I mean, it kind of looks. I mean, we're on the most gentlest upslope ever on the transaction counts. I don't know. All right, I don't have anything else, guys. There's really nothing else to talk about. We've covered it all.
All right. Thank you so much, Bawdy.
Sir, thank you.
All right, Bawdy man, thank you. Oh, buddy, you mentioned Kwai. So actually, I've been talking to Dr. K. Did you talk to Dr. K at all when you were at the conference?
If I did,
Just curious.
I don't remember.
He's an interesting guy. So I was talking to him for Anon Bazaar purposes. Was trying to get them to add Kwai or Chi. They have their private stable coin built on Kwai. It's interesting. And actually, let me pull this up real quick. Hold on, here we go. Because I would love to. So, completely unrelated to crypto. He also just recently published this paper, which he was very excited to tell me about. We were talking about the Anon Bazaar stuff. He's like, yeah, that's cool. We'll make it happen. He's like, by the way, I just published this paper you have any like physics friends that could check it out? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, you probably have more friends than me in that area. But he's trying all bases. So basically, he proposed like a grand theory of physics, like the age-old problem of tying together quantum mechanics and general relativity. I, you know, I was good at physics in high school, but beyond that, this is way, way above my knowledge base. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys want to take a look at this paper. I mean, if what he's proposing is true, I mean, this guy's basically getting the Nobel Prize. I ran it through AI. I was like talking to it, trying to understand. It seems pretty elegant. I don't know.
Bold of you to assume that truth gets the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I knew there'd be commentary on that. But yeah, Nobel Prize aside, it seems pretty breakthrough. So I don't know if people want to take a look at it. If there's physics nerds out there, like I said, I was the top of my physics class in high school, but I don't think that gives me the chops to determine if this guy has figured out the grand theory of all physics tying together, general relativity, and quantum mechanics. It's pretty wild that he just kind of like put this out there. He was very excited about it. He was trying to explain it to me. So I might actually have him on Monero Talk. It might be our first like non-digital cash related Monero Talk, and maybe I could get somebody else to come on and talk about it.
Here's a dad joke for you. What prize did the knock joke get?
What?
The Nobel Prize.
Nice. I like it. So yeah, guys, check it out. And this is Dr. K. This is the guy behind Quiet Network. So potentially brilliant breakthrough. Buddy, are you? Were you like a physics major? Or your computer science materials?
No, I was electrical engineering, but that was like 20 years ago. So I wasn't really computer science. I did some like neural network stuff, but that was 20 years ago. So.
I think Francisco, right? Was he like doing theoretical physics at some point? Francisco Cabanas?
I don't know.
So maybe I'll have him look at it. I know, completely random, but you did mention Quai Guy. And this just came up. He just published it like last week.
No,
so
it was Big Booty Latina who mentioned Quai Guy.
Yes. I do think Quai is an interesting project. I like what they're doing with proof of work. Feed demise tip 0.001 XMR. Ever try live streaming to Telegram? Look into some cool things that XMR chat can do with that. All right, yeah, I'll hit you up, man. Viet demise is the one that is working on XMR chat. Yeah, are people like watching on Telegram? I guess it'd be cool. You could do it in the in our Telegram chat room. I've never seen people do that, live streaming on Telegram. All right, so we could go ahead and we could run the news, and then we have our special guest, but I don't think he's here yet. We have SirJaምህzAlot. He's going to be coming up. He's been vibe coding and creating some Monero related applications. So he's going to come up, tell us how he's done this. There's been a few of these guests recently, people that have just been vibe coding up Monero related apps, which is awesome to see.
Well,
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
All right. I guess we're doing the news. Let me bring the other ones up. But yeah, so we'll bring SirJaምህz up, and he's vibe coded some interesting apps. And like I said, we have other people that have been doing that recently, which is very cool. I have some ideas I want to try to work on. Haven't found the time. Yeah, okay, here we go. Let me get this up. this the first one?
Just don't ask Copilot for help or it will give you a broken system D service.
Wait, hold on a second, guys. Okay, here's the first one. All right, all right. Where is it? Sorry, guys. I don't know why I can't find the first link.
Douglas broke it.
Oh, here it is. All right. Bada beep, bada boop. Oh. What is... I'll move the stuff from here on out. All right, so first story. We got Marco Rubio. He's saying here, we won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there will be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. Let's go ahead and give this a listen. This is
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere.
so that's a pretty interesting statement.
Good.
Yeah, that's so. They won't have the ability to sanction them because people will be using Monero, essentially. Essentially is what's being said there. So they are aware of this, guys, and it's happening. It's starting to happen. Iran is accepting Bitcoin, stable coins. Maybe they'll be accepting Monero too. Anthropic puts Mythos in a lock. So this new thing, Mythos, came out. It's been a big deal. It was created by Anthropic. And basically they're saying that Anthropic is just like Mythos has crazy abilities. Anthropic is now so scared of what Mythos can do offensively that they won't release it publicly. In response, they're launching Glasswing, a coalition with Apple, Google, NVIDIA, and 40 plus more companies to use Mythos only for defense. So basically, I guess his AI has the ability to like sort through any software, code, website, and find exploits like better than any super coder can do. So it could like essentially hack anything and everything. Pretty interesting. That's it's like we're moving pretty fast, guys, in the AI. So it's gotten to the point where they don't want this thing out there in the open because it could be used nefariously to basically hack into anything. Interesting that these large companies are the ones that now are the only ones that have access to this. But would love to see this run against the Monero code, right? That was kind of the first thing that came to mind for me. Drop the Monero code in there. Love to see what kind of potential exploits it points out. Maybe we could use it to improve our code. So yeah, I mean, supposedly it's being used to analyze like all the open source code that's out there since it's all accessible. So very curious to see what that leads to in terms of cryptos using it to improve and find flaws. Next story here, we have Lola L33tz. So obviously, yeah, the big story with Iran and the oil and crypto was that Iran is accepting Bitcoin for transit oil payments. This is in the Financial Times. They said that each tanker must email authorities about its cargo, after which Iran will inform them of the toll to be paid in digital currencies. He said the tariff is $1 per barrel of oil, adding that empty tankers can pass freely. Once the email arrives and Iran completes its assessment, vessels are given a few seconds to pay in Bitcoin, ensuring that they can't be traced or confiscated due to sanctions. They can be traced and theoretically can be confiscated. If you could see it, you could find, the people who are using it.
I think that author has no idea what they're talking about because a few seconds to pay in Bitcoin can't happen.
Right. That's the biggest.
The only possible way to do that would be with Lightning Network, and with Lightning Network, you can't make payments that large. They would fail.
Yeah.
You can't do it on chain. Because,
I mean, obviously, Bitcoin would work well enough in terms of payment size and transaction speed, right? I mean, we're talking about, if it took 10 minutes, I don't see that being an issue for them.
Yeah, they'd have to get a confirmation on the actual layer 1 blockchain, because they couldn't do that. They couldn't do zero conf because of replace by fee. And so they would need
a hell of a lot faster than using the traditional banking system of wiring money, and there's the fact that you need permission to do it, which they don't have. So Bitcoin really is a breakthrough in that respect, but it's completely traceable. But interesting is Lola L33tz take on this. And so Iran demanding payment in Bitcoin in the Strait of Hormuz is not the win you think it is. Terrorist financing is the one major concern that will push Clarity Act DeFi discussions on KYC AML over the edge. And the biggest terrorist there is, according to the U.S., is the very country now demanding payment in BTC, explicitly to bypass sanctions and confiscation. So she's saying it's going to basically make crypto look bad, make Bitcoin look bad in the eyes of the, those that make our laws, right? So they'll be forced to confront this issue if Bitcoin is actually used in this way, which it already is, but now it really would be. Although, as of this morning, I guess that's no longer happening because now Trump is taking over the Strait of Hormuz and not allowing anybody to pass through. But I could see the final settlement deal being Trump allowing them to collect the toll. And just claiming that, the strait is now open, but we're allowing our end. I could actually see that being the end result. And if that is the case, maybe they would accept Bitcoin, or maybe the deal is they'd have to accept the dollar. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what that's going to be.
Hey, we got an XMR chat.
Okay, you go ahead and pull it up.
Yeah, so
AKA not tipped points. This is such a trust me, bro marketing campaign. We have created Super Hacker, but we don't want anyone to see accepting any and all government contracts. All right, let me bring up the next.
Actually, the Iranian one is another one where I'm just like, I don't know, man. You can't find any transactions on the ledger. You would think that any of these like massive tankers would be all about trying to capture that free money, right? Wait, we only have to buy 1 million in Bitcoin and we can basically get a head start against the entire oil market. You would think that there'd be like 10 transactions on the ledger already, and there's just not. Like, I kind of feel like this is just pump and dump shenanigans.
Yeah, like it wasn't even really a thing. Like Iran wasn't even actually. Yeah. Could be. Mert. He's the big Zcash guy. According to, so he's commenting on this. According to the Financial Times, the Iranians want the Strait of Hormuz payments in Bitcoin because they think it can't be traced. LOL. I have some bad news for you, buddy. So yeah, just picking up on the obvious that if they were trying to use it for those purposes, they should be using essentially a privacy coin in its place.
And you would think that the Iranian, like, let's call it like red team, their digital red team, would be so aware of the traceability problem of Bitcoin and would not be interested in this. Like,
yeah, they've been like mining Bitcoin over there. Like the Iranians are like very like Bitcoin based, right? Like my understanding, right? They've been mining it for years. So they're not complete noobs. They absolutely know it's traceable. What is this? CIA just casually admitted Bitcoin is their surveillance tool. I don't know. Let's go ahead and.
CIA thinking about Bitcoin. Well, just like law enforcement, I guess, we are excited as well because, as people may have thought Bitcoin was anonymous, but I'd say it's pseudonymous, right? It's not truly anonymous. And there's a lot of work that we do with law enforcement, obviously, to try to track, illicit crypto payments by bad actors. I mean, look, bad actors, whether they're drug cartels or terrorist groups or outlaw regimes, use cryptocurrency, but they use other tools as well, right?
They use dollars in cars.
Yeah, right. They used toner cartridges for their printers, right? It doesn't mean we say we should ban all of those, right? No, I mean, look, Bitcoin is here to stay. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. As you know, more and more institutions are adopting it, and I think that's a great trend, and one that this administration has obviously been leaning forward into. It's another area of technological competition where we need to make sure the United States is well positioned against China and other adversaries. We need to make sure that we are a leader in these fields internationally and not a laggard. And there, as you know, tremendous potential for law enforcement and intelligence community to be able to use cryptocurrency to help track what our adversaries are doing and disrupt it.
One of the things I always am shocked by is people talk about it as a tool for the bad people,
right?
But also it could be a tool for the good people as well, right? And so whether it's Bitcoin or stable coins or anything else, CIA has a lot of payments probably that are going all over the world, as do many large organizations. And so is that how you guys kind of use as a framework for all of technology? Is like it can be a tool or it can be a weapon against us, and we want to be good at using it, but also understand how our enemies are using it against us?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned we use technology as a tool, right? And Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are another tool in the toolbox. It's also a target, right? So it's something we can use we can disrupt our adversaries' use of it, and we can use these technologies to collect more intelligence, to gather more information about them. So yeah, I think in that respect, Bitcoin is actually very similar to other sort of advanced technologies, and one that we have to prioritize. And again, it comes back to there's a little bit of a generational shift, and the cultural shift going on that Director Ratcliffe and I are leading the way on at CIA right now. Not everyone in the government has these attitudes around new technologies, right? People are sort of trapped in older mindsets sometimes. We have to break through that and realize, this isn't just this idea that cryptocurrency is for people with something to hide. That's just not right.
You sound like the in-house Bitcoiner. Let's talk about.
Let's make it traceable so the government can use it to spy on us.
I killed a bunch of children last night.
This is a Bitcoin thing. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, so CIA knows that Bitcoin is traceable and is using it to their advantage for those purposes. And yeah, there's no way Iran is not aware of that. I mean, come on. There's just absolutely no way. And we literally have like videos coming out where the CIA is talking about how they use it to trace transactions. It's funny that he gave like the toner cartridge example as like a tool, because don't they also haven't they hijacked that as well, where like toner is traceable?
Yeah,
if you picked up on that, wasn't that always a thing? Like they can tell like where you printed a piece of paper from.
Yeah, they have identifiers inside of the ink cartridges, and I don't have any proof that they're like currently using it, but each toner cartridge can be commanded to put its ID on every printed page.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of like a slip in his mind, right? Because he's trying to give example of tools that can be used for good and bad, and like he's like just gave an example of another tool that the government has hijacked and uses to trace how people
Everybody
use it.
Needs to support the
Hilarious
project in the open
What's that?
source world. There's this project to basically open source printer firmware and printer
there is
software. Yeah, it's wonderful, and it's like horribly underfunded because everybody in the Linux community complains about like printer stuff, but nobody's like paying for it. It's like they're all about paying for like these big complicated projects that lots of the time go nowhere, and it's like everybody needs a printer and they get like $12 a month to develop this like highly complicated reverse engineering stuff so we can all print. But like just give it a couple of minutes and somebody will drop the next million on some like sky facing project that's never gonna get off the ground. It's like, can we just get the printers working first? Like that would be cool, Yeah,
yeah, and it's fun. Like I said, it's funny he brought that up as the example. Definitely a Freudian slip. And the guy interviewing, like, why wouldn't he like bring up privacy coins, Monero, right? Like in that moment, or just privacy tools for Bitcoin. Like, hey, but what do you think? What do you think about if people are using these privacy tools so transactions can't be traced? He didn't even go there on that one. Next news story. Breaking, your internet fiber cable is secretly listening to you right now. Researchers from Hong Kong just dropped a paper showing how they can spy on your conversations through fiber optics in your walls. So, yeah, guys. I don't know. You literally have to opt out, like completely leave modern day society if you don't want to be spied on 24/7. It's the only way.
That's why non-connected house, like kind of next door to my house, that has absolutely no devices in it. Just for that exact reason, just because it's like, hey, I have a place where I can talk to somebody without being spied on, you know.
Yeah.
My own
like
skiff.
Your Faraday cage. Vic's tweeting, keeping Monero wallet synced at all times. Using Claude Code, I vibe coded a desktop app for Monero RPC that you run on your computer all the time, and a Monero wallet mobile iPhone app that connects to it using Tailscale that always stays synced. So, first of all, amazing that Vic is just like doing this, right? But yeah, just yet another example of people vibe coding cool applications for Monero. We're just seeing a renaissance here of new things, and I'm sure Vic will now like integrate that into Cake itself. But he just whipped that together on his own. Next story. This is from Thor. Monero is necessary for THORChain to be THORChain. There is no way around it. If we aspire to be what we want to be, Monero has to be adopted. So the THORChain bros are now Monero bros. We've been waiting for this for years. And like I said earlier, I do think there's always been a subset of THORChain guys who really wanted Monero from day one. And now they're finally making it happen, which is great to see. So it's happening. So he's quoting JP. JP is one of the main devs. We had him on the show. And Chad Bradford, I'll try to get him on. We'll try to do a THORChain thing maybe this week. I was thinking maybe even like a spaces or something we can do with THORChain people and Monero people, and then maybe we could even get like a Monero dev in there. Because I often hear these interviews even recently, and they're always like, oh, there's these issues with Monero. Like, talk about it, guys. Like, your devs talk to these devs. Figure it out. But super exciting to see. And, yeah, part of the reasoning why it's happening now, somebody posted a super chat that I thought said it pretty well. Let's see. Actually, let me bring it up. Or it wasn't a super chat, it was just a regular chat. Where is it? Oh yeah. So three main reasons THORChain cannot implement XMR before. So no memo list extension was needed, not anymore. So they've overcome that issue. Technical know-how. Everything now is based off of Luke's work. So they learned from the work that Luke is doing on Sarai. So the technical know-how is now there. 3.9R and other legal fear. So they've overcome the legal fears, just given the kind of the political atmosphere in general. All right, next story. This is a kind of a crazy one here. UFO expert Stephen Greer warns that rogue actors inside the government are now on the verge of staging a fake alien invasion. All right, let's give this a listen. I haven't.
The big one would be this, what Werner von Braun warned about on his deathbed. He said, he said, we are going to hoax an alien attack on the planet. It's all a lie, but it will trick and fool almost everyone. So we're trying to expose that. But see, if this festers much longer, with that group that have the technologies I'm talking about, in a minute they could stage this and it would fool. Well, it had. I mean, look at what they've been doing for decades, fooling everyone. Everyone's saying, "Oh, those are alien events," and our military guys chasing these objects thinks those are military, right? Well, they're not. I mean, are alien? They're military or covert aerospace programs. So the ability to hoax an attack on our planet is real. And
what would be the goal in them doing that? Staging a, really false alien attack on the entire world. What would they accomplish?
they want to unite the world around a military junta, a totalitarian system. And how do you do that? How do you get one race or one ethnicity or one nation to stop fighting with each other? You create a bigger problem up there, and it unites everyone against a common enemy. But in that uniting of the world in war instead of peace, they can then exert all manner of totalitarian controls. That has been a 70-year plan. I have a CIA document from 1953 or 54 stating that they can use the UFO issue to great advantage for its, quote, psychological warfare value. So once they got close and mastered the technology in the mid-50s, and they knew they were close to that in 53, 54, then what has happened is that they've started a long-term program to brainwash the public that there's a threat out there. Now, the question is, will they brainwash President Trump and other people? We're providing the information we have, but there are some devils on these deep state operations around the president, giving him the opposite perspective. So this is getting into like, well, which of these narratives is it going to be the true narrative or the false flag narrative? And when you have someone like the president who's very busy, and you have to do a one-sheeter for him, and he's doing a million things a day, it's very easy for people who are in the system he trusts, who are actually foxes in the hen house, who are bad actors, for him to take their advice.
There's something unbelievably scammy about people like this.
I'm surprised they haven't already done it.
Oh wait, I was muted there. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't already done it as well. I think we're in the midst of it. It's happening soon, coming soon. Next story here.
Yeah, so this really only do that once though.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, we got an XMR chat.
We got an XMR chat. Idiocracy survivor tip. It's 0.001. At least they're not faking a global pandemic or a climate emergency. Yeah. They tried that one already. Or still trying it, I'm sure. Next story. Google has sounded the quantum alarm. Today they released groundbreaking progress towards breaking crypto using quantum computers. So this is the big story. I guess that happened this past week or the week before. TDLR, existing cryptography is dead. Mempool attacks are real. We must migrate to post-quantum now. So yeah, hard to determine. A lot of people are trying to determine how real this is. Is it right around the corner where basically a public key will be able to be broken and you can reveal the private key? Hard to say. But a lot of people are waking up to it in crypto. So a lot of people are working on this problem. Monero is working on this problem as well, trying to be post-quantum. I just did a show this past week. We had Diego on with some of the researchers. We actually started talking quantum stuff. One of the guys was a quantum expert. So this is one of the things that Monero is looking to tackle after full chain membership proofs will be the next major project, becoming essentially post-quantum. Crypto T then tweeted, Bitcoin is now quantum resistant. So then this paper dropped, somebody who's proposing this in Bitcoin land. And I don't know, it sounds like they basically proposed some solution. Let's see. This person from Starkware proposes a scheme enabling quantum resistant Bitcoin spends today without soft forks by replacing ECDSA security with a ripe MD 160 hash to signature puzzle solved off chain via GPU computer. So supposedly they came up with some way basically to send transactions, and there's additional compute that's done on your computer on the side that somehow prevents I guess adds an extra encryption and makes it quantum resistant. I don't fully understand it, but it seemed to be accepted well. People say like this would actually work. It would just make transactions really heavy and really expensive. But interesting that there's already solutions being proposed. So
this reeks of problem reaction solution as well. So I've only like skimmed through it, but mostly because I don't have any intentions of ever moving into Bitcoin again. But the funny thing is for one, it requires GPU puzzle problem solving. So you've already like moved into a different tier of hardware. And then these already highly centralized mining pools have to smash or pass your transaction. So basically, without firing a shot, Bitcoin is now centralized control over all transactions to just like 2 companies.
Yeah, and it requires the users to run this extra hardware, right, to send the transactions?
Yeah, you spend the money to put all of the work in, and you spend the money on all the GPUs, but then maybe your corporate overlords will allow you to spend without being tracked and traced, even though you've been tracked and traced because you submitted it to the miners, which are 2 companies that report to the government. So it's like, what exactly was the problem that this solves? I think it actually like just skips the step where they have to pay all of this money to use a quantum computer. Like that's all that's really happened. It's like you pay the toll and we won't, hack your public and private keys.
Crazy. Well, interesting to see them proposing solutions already. I mean, what do you think? You think that the quantum threat is real, right? I mean, do you think it's overblown? Some people think it's over. Actually, I think Dr. K, we were talking about him earlier, the guy who I said just proposed being able to a grand theory of physics tying together quantum and general relativity. Beside the point, but I believe he's of the point that the quantum threat isn't really real for crypto right now. That's kind of
it's like
overblown.
Provably real in the theoretical sense. You know what I mean? Like
right, but it's probably much further away than.
Yeah, and like maybe tomorrow somebody comes up with a way to pull this off or what, of course it's, it's possible. But the thing that I don't like about it is just wading through the sea of people pretending that they have like the slightest clue about how this is all going to play out. And the thing that I really, really, really hate about it is people are making bad decisions now based on something that hasn't even happened yet. You know what I mean? Like people are, in this Bitcoin thing is like a perfect example. And in fact, if you put the 2 news stories together, maybe in theory, according to rumors from some unverified sources, allegedly there may be a Bitcoin transaction to subvert the dollar and oil exchanges. And, that's like an excuse to pump. But then on the other side, it's like, we're going to switch to this highly tyrannical, highly centralized system to avoid a problem that hasn't happened yet is also supposed to be news for why we should pump crypto. And it's like, it's all based on nonsense, right? Like Iran has not taken any Bitcoin for oil yet. And a quantum computer has not actually provably hacked any of this yet. And not only that, but it's based on a theory that assumes that there's going to be all of this scaling that nobody has figured out yet. But, let's just centralize Bitcoin now, guys. Like how cool. Well, not that it is decentralized anyway, but it's like, let's just put that nail in the coffin just in case something theoretically happens in a few months, years, whatever. Like they're actively centralizing all transactions to a mining pool, offloading the cost to the user. Otherwise, you have this like looming threat. And one of the things that I've seen a lot of people who have like any sense at all saying about this is they're basically saying you're going to make the chain heavy, which means that all of the big blockers were right all of those years ago. All right. But nobody's coming back and oh, maybe we should have listened to Roger Ver and all those other people about the fact that they were like 100% vindicated now. But then on top of all of that, it's just like a bunch of Bitcoin bootlickers saying, centralize me harder, daddy. Like, what if the quantum boogeyman comes for us? It's just like, bros, you have no spine. And I hope that all of you eat your losses when the government's like, you get the luxury pod for all of the Bitcoin that you centralized.
All right, let me bring up the next story here. Well, we spoke about this on the outset. So Ricardo Spagni, aka Flufflypony, I'm advising Wagyu, the protocol bringing XMR to DeFi without nuking its privacy in the process. 200 million plus volume in 2 months, not bad for something the can't be done crowd wrote off immediately. A thread on what it is and what I'll be doing. So yeah, Ricardo Flufflypony, we all know him. One of the early Monero contributors, was part of the core team, moved away from Monero and started working on the Tari project. Recently announced that he was stepping away. I interpreted it as stepping away kind of from everything. He had issues. But then a few weeks later, a week or two later, he's now tweeting that he's now teaming up with Wagyu, just advising them. So, his history side, the stuff with Atari, just great. I guess this is great to see, right? So Wagyu, there's not a lot of trust there. They kind of came out of nowhere and just doing huge volume. People are a little suspicious of it, and it's not truly decentralized. It is possible to kind of rug people in a way, but not much different than these instant exchanges that people are using that they're putting trust in momentarily when they make their trades. But Ricardo is trying to bring some validity to it. And so I would say overall, yeah, that's great to see. Great to see that Fluffy is kind of back in the game here, and it's contributing to Monero ultimately by doing this. So to be determined what this turns into. But I would say, if anything, it's making Wagyu seemingly less scammy at this point, hopefully. And so, yeah, if you trust these other instant exchanges, there's really no reason not to trust them, and it looks like they'll be evolving now with the help of Ricardo to really try to make themselves, quote unquote, more decentralized, if that's possible. So yeah, he's saying, I'm not the CEO, I'm just an external advisor. They're working on, or they're creating, wrapping XMR into an ERC20 and calling it a day was never going to cut it. So he sees this as being the DeFi solution for Monero. Monero's privacy is protocol level and default. Bridging it without destroying that has been a generally hard problem. Wagyu's approach with Hyperliquid aims to minimize the trust assumptions. More work coming on that. So they're going to try to make it as trust minimalist as possible without stripping out what makes Monero useful, i.e. the privacy. That's the only part that matters. So very cool to see that he's contributing to this, and definitely gives it some more validity. And hopefully at the end of the day, we have a utility out there that is being used to swap in and out of Monero in a big way and becomes popular. So we always need more and more of these bridges. Wagyu came out of nowhere and seems to be fulfilling that need.
That cow picture with the hand is like so uncanny valley. It's just creepy. Like if I met a cow with a hand, that would just be like, I'm not eating beef anymore.
Is that supposed to be Ricardo? I guess yeah, he's teaming up. He's teaming up with the cow. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I do think, I understand, like, people were a little frustrated with Ricardo, especially given, like, he kind of said he was stepping away from everything, and like Tari has just been a bloodbath, and like here he is kind of ignoring that. Like, are you still working on Tari? It's not known. I don't have a bag of Tari, so I don't really have any skin in the game. Honestly, I was looking to get some and be a part of it because I wanted to root them on. I was wise enough, I guess, not to get in right away. But ultimately, I'm not opposed to the project, and especially because it was being merge mined with Monero, and Fluffy had a big vision for it. initially kind of pitching it as the Monero layer 2, and then it really just became its own thing. The idea being that it would kind of be a private version of Ethereum, in a real simplistic way of looking at it, filling that use case. So I don't know. Hopefully that turns back up, and the people that are invested in that project don't end up getting completely rugged, because certainly a lot of potential there. But I think that's why there's been some drama with Fluffy mentioning this. It wasn't just about him teaming up with Wagyu. It was that people were a little frustrated with what recently has gone down with Tari. Next story, we have Sam Bent just making a comment here. Monero didn't come from a white paper and a marketing team. It's a direct descendant of 4 decades of cypherpunk work, from Chomp to Zimmerman to May to Back to Finney to Szabo, built by people who actually read their papers. So very cool. And then it's a little hard to see this, but it's a flowchart diagram that shows kind of the history of Monero from a research development standpoint, of all the contributions that have been made along the way, starting from the 70s, cypherpunks movement obviously really blossoming in the 90s, and all the different contributions that have been made and how that effectively helped create Monero. Next story, we have the one and only Xenu, one of our favorites. Monero sub so he's talking about a Monero sub on Dread. It's got 100K subscribers. It's currently at 99.7K, so it's almost at 100K subscribers. There is more daily activity on there than on Reddit, a ClearNet site. So that's pretty wild. So for anyone who's like, oh, Monero really isn't used in the dark markets, well, it seems to be the most popularly discussed crypto. So people like using untraceable digital cash for all sorts of things. Next story. Oh, so this is a big story this week. There was another hearing update. Judge has not made up her mind. The court convened for over 3 hours, but the judge ultimately did not come to a decision on whether Roman Storm should be acquitted, stating that she had not yet made up her mind. So there was a trial to determine if Roman Storm should be acquitted, and there was no decision made. So the saga continues. A lot of people keeping their eye on that, and yeah, so hoping for the best for Roman Storm. I have one more story. One more Monero, very, very much Monero related. So just the inner workings of what's going on with Monero and full chain membership proofs. This is straight from the Monero Research Lab meeting. They happen, I think, every Wednesday or every other Wednesday. Jay Berman proposed a low-cost follow-up formal security review of the full chain membership proof plus composition by CipherStack's new team. So it's another review, another audit that they want to do on some aspect of full chain membership proofs. They want to get this done. So there's kind of some chat back and forth. Does it really need to be done? And it's like, all right, we might as well do it. It's just going to make things even essentially more secure and vetted. So that's going to happen. It's only like $15,000, which I don't really know the full scope of what's happening here, but seems like a small price to pay for more security, and knowing that what eventually does get implemented will be secure and highly vetted. So good to see a lot of progress being made on full chain membership proofs. Like I said, I had Diego of CipherStack on this past week with some of his researchers. And I did ask him straight up, well, what's your latest estimate on full chain membership proof implementation? And he's still sticking with this year, Q3, which is coming up. Q3 is coming up. So maybe the end of Q3, or early Q4. I don't know. We'll see, right? Like you can't rush it. That's what makes Monero is what it is, right? We do evolve. We're not Bitcoin. We do actually evolve for purposes of always staying private and untraceable, but we take our time doing it so that all I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So actually, let me see. I think there was some more Monero
That audit is pretty cheap, only at 43.6 Monero. That's not too
Right,
bad.
right. They've done a ton of work for Monero, so it's working out well. So big thank you to CipherStack. They were a fantastic part of Monerotopia this year too. Diego came in with pretty much his whole team, and they bring a lot of value because
I mean, I'd point out also, like, even though they haven't delivered, like, you know, I think that they're reliable enough to, like, we'll just kind of trust them for now. But the fact that CipherStack is trying to produce not just documentation on the code, but they're also trying to produce documentation that allows people to learn up to being able to interpret the code and the math. You guys know what I'm talking about? He had mentioned it in the interview that you did with him, Doug. But
yeah, the giant book or whatever. Right.
Yeah, that kind of like go-getter badassery, assuming that they deliver, right? Like, you know, disclaimer here on the show right now, assuming that they deliver. That is the
they've already delivered. They've already successfully done other audits.
Exactly. So and that's why I would certainly give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But if like they're actually producing these gangster ass books about like how any layperson can read and catch up to the tech as it is, and even like the description that he used for it, he's like, you know, we might be sitting on the next, you know, Luke Parker or whatever out there somewhere, and they just need a place to go to like catch up with the rest of us. And then the way that he looked at it is like, you know, old blood. I mean, the dude's what, like 40, and he's already looking at it like we need to feed the next generation or whatever. That kind of thing is, once again, assuming that they deliver. That's the kind of behavior that gives me a lot more faith in people like CipherStack, where they're trying to come up with a way to get the next guy in line to be able to get the work done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, CipherStack is basically Diego figured out how to continue to work on Monero and have the researchers and some of the devs work on Monero in a sustainable way where they weren't just relying on the Monero CCS. So Diego is still the same guy he always was. I think he's motivated about the tech and building untraceable digital cash. He's found now a means of being able to continuously contribute to it and make a living. And do it in a sustainable way through CipherStack. So he's not just some like dude running a company that's just trying to, you know, make money off the Monero treasury. He's very much invested in Monero, the project. And it's become an amazing, like, I don't know what we would do without CipherStack at this point. Obviously we do the CCSs and we fund devs, but it leads to problems. Like, these devs shouldn't have to, you know, come back and beg for money every couple of months. They should just be able to continuously work and get paid. It's just hard for us to create a system wherein they can do that. CipherStack managed to fill that void, and they're contributing in a very large way. Here's another Monero Research Lab story. This also came out of the meeting. Jay Berman proposed, and the Monero Research Lab approved a low-cost file. Oh, no, wait, that was the one I just read. Wait, I thought there was another one I wanted to bring up. There was a discussion on whether to include additional JAMTIS features, caret key hierarchy with the upcoming full chain membership proof ++ caret fork. The Monero Research Lab converged on not shipping the new hierarchy at all to avoid delaying full chain membership proofs. So they want to stay focused on full chain membership proofs as is. They don't want to make any additional changes and just get that implemented, and they'll deal with these changes that need to be made to the addresses later. Shifting instead towards waiting for JAMTIS PQ, so JAMTIS post quantum, right? So that's exciting to see. So they're already working on making upgrades to JAMTIS, which will, you know, Jeffro has been working on that. He's been leading that. And so now it looks like they want to make that post-quantum before they even implement it, which is very exciting to see. So we are making headway in the post-quantum arena. Whether people think it's a real threat or not, very exciting to see that.
My only problem is maybe it is somewhere that I can't find, but I'm not seeing what their plan is to make it post-quantum. Like, I get what they're saying, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but it would be nice to see somewhere like openly available. And once again, maybe it exists and I don't know, but like details on what the plan is to make it post quantum, because there's a lot of ideas out there, but nobody really knows if they're going to work or not.
I think that's CipherStack yet again. That's kind of on their agenda. They want to do a paper on that. That's kind of like the first step they want to do is write up a research paper on all the possible things that can be done, and ultimately, so the community can come to consensus on what the direction should be. So I think you'll end up coming up out of CipherStack as well. Yeah, guys. So that is the news. A lot of news. I haven't checked the real news since doing the news. Like the alien, did the alien invasion already happen? Is the Strait of Hormuz open or closed again? I don't know. It's been about 5 minutes. Hard to keep up.
Well, according to our politicians, the alien invasion happened in 2020 or whatever when Biden got elected. Oh, that's so not nice.
Looks like we got SirJam. So let's go ahead and run the special guest segment.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Alrighty. We got SirJam. SirJam, what's going on, man?
Going good. I thought you were going to play the Monerotopia song, the other one. I don't think anybody knows, but a few years ago, I remember I made you guys that tune.
Yes. We got to get that. I don't know. We just never added it to the thing. We got to do it.
What have you been jamming to recently?
A lot of 80s music.
Okay.
He jams a lot.
Yeah. Also, gypsy jazz. I'm pretty into that. And metal. I don't know. I play a lot of stuff.
Awesome, brother. And you've been vibe coding nonstop since and I think before Monerotopia, you've just been like spitting out Monero product, right? It sounds like you've been obsessed with it for the last couple months.
Definitely obsessed with it. You know, I was ready to get these programs out and working. You know, I mean, you know, there are different versions of these pieces of software that I worked on, and I just couldn't wait any longer. I needed it. I had to step up and get her done.
Awesome, Matt. So yeah, tell it. What are the different things you've been working on? What is
mainly just Super Brain and Super Pay.
Right.
Okay.
Super
Brain is, I mean, I just call it like the goo packs of Umbrel, because that's essentially what it is. You know, I just wanted to mine P2 pool on my Umbrel server. And I tried to do it for a long time as I was learning everything, learning about Docker, learning about the Umbrel system, learning about all those pieces of software. So it came together like over a pretty good amount of time, you know, but say like a year and a half is when I actually first started running XMRig on the Umbrel. The thing about the Umbrel architecture is that when you have system updates, it like resets everything. So you have to have an app properly installed in the right method. And like Docker Compose gets reset, like all file structure. So yeah, I slowly got into Docker, learning how to do that through a lot of Seth's posts. And man, his posts are crazy. Like, you know, how to run Monero in Docker, how to run BTC Pay server in Docker. And it just came together. I would put XMRig in there. It was working. I was mining to a Dimmadome pool, you know, and like actually made some money with it. I mean, like a few bucks, you know, we got a few blocks. I got lucky in that pool, which there aren't very many people mining to.
So is it at the point where now others that want to use this can easily install something, and now they're mining pool on Umbrel?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I would guess there's probably about 40 people using it at least. I mean, we have like 30 something in our group where we do like tech support, or if, you know, new people come in, then we help them out. You know, there's a few technical things.
So now anybody who's running Umbrel, there's like no excuse. It's very easy to basically.
It's so easy. It's so easy. Yeah, and that's one of the things that like I think the CCS guys didn't get when I pitched the project. They're going, oh well, you know, anybody can do this. I'm going, no, you literally can't on Umbrel right now. You cannot find P2 pool.
There's always that disconnect because you have these super nerds who's like, yeah, you can do it, but like people like me, we can't do it. Like you know, like we could, but we don't have the patience.
I have a question for you. Umbrel versus Start 9. Would you be able to do this on Start 9 already, or would Superbrains be able to work on Start 9?
It's on Start 9, actually. Yeah, somebody did it. Somebody from the Superbrain community ported it over. So they're running it on Start 9.
What's the can you bring up the website? Bring it up.
Which website?
The Superbrain. The
the miner?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second.
Might as well bring it up on screen here.
Yeah, Superbrain doesn't have a website, but I can show you.
Okay. So where do people go to like either go to GitHub or something like to like download the app?
Yeah. So the way Umbrel works until your app gets like pulled into the main GitHub app store is what's called a community app store. And that's basically a GitHub repo that's structured in a way that the Umbrel can make a store out of it. So you can have your own apps in there. So I have 2 now with Superbrain and Super Pay. So you just take that link and you put it in the Umbrel up in the corner, and then it opens up my app store, and then you can install Superbrain and Super Pay right there.
Sick.
Yeah.
Did you go ahead and share your screen? If you share it, you hit the share button.
Okay, let's see.
Plus button on the bottom. Plus screen.
Yeah, see, personally, I've not ever used Start 9 or Umbrel, but I've heard them mentioned a lot together, which is why I decided to ask that.
Why wouldn't you use them? You just don't see a need.
I just haven't played with them. It's just literally that I haven't done so.
So what are you running your software on?
I'm actually just running it from the command line on Ubuntu.
Oh yeah. Yeah, great. I mean, great, but for like mass adoption, you know, people are used to iPhone.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not the I'm definitely doing the more complicated way. Like I'm not even using Seth's Docker containers to run Monero. I actually download Monero from the thing and have a command line that's like /Monero, the command options.
Well, it's beautiful. Like I keep repeating this point, but it is beautiful to see that the Monero community, there's those in the Monero community that always wanted to fix the UI and the UX and make things super usable, but didn't really have the ability to do it. And they were talking to the devs, trying to get them to do it, but the devs just can't really see it that way because they're just more advanced. They're like, well, what's the problem? Just use it. But now that's being solved by people who are vibe coding with AI that are now able to build these like creative people like SirJamz, who's skilled enough to use AI to now build these things on his own. It's amazing. Really.
Could you guys see my screen?
Bam. Yeah, there we go.
Cool. So this is the desktop of the Umbrel system. They sell like little systems that you can buy, or you can just install it on any system you want. I have mine on an old ThinkPad laptop that I got for $300, and it's got 64 gigabytes of RAM and 2 terabytes.
You got it for how? You got it for how much, sir?
$300.
You mean 1 Monero?
Back then, it was more like 2. I've had this system for a while.
So it has depreciated in value.
But RAM prices, though. So if you look at that, this is 64 gigabytes of RAM here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I'll give you guys a little tour. Because
this CPU, this computer's connected to your Umbrel?
This, yes.
Or
so with Umbrel, you know, like this computer's in a different state, right? I'm connecting to it over Tailscale.
Okay.
And Tailscale is something incredible that I recommend everybody learn about and get into, because like with a VPN, you know, it's a private encrypted network between your computer and the VPN provider's computer, and then you access the internet through their system. Whereas Tailscale, it's a private encrypted connection between your computer and your other computer, right? So you can make this network of just your own systems and access things like that. And that's how the next, you know, program Super Pay is possible. And like with, you know, Vix app, that's possible. I was working on something similar. You know, Tailscale allows you to basically control software on another system. So you don't have to have your wallet on your phone. And that's what he did, was he made, you know, a RPC wallet that lives somewhere else, and you just control it with your phone so that it stays synced, it stays open.
Right. So the security is on your computer, you're running it there, and then you're just connecting to it from your phone.
Yeah.
The app. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. If somebody wants to
always fully synced and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I told him, I said, this is great. I would love to like port the back end to Umbrel, because Umbrel is like the system that you always have running, right? Your laptop, you close it, you move, you travel. So if you're running nodes and things and other types of self-hosting software, yeah, both Start9 and Umbrel are really good for that. But if I just scroll through here, you can see like the different apps that I've installed, and I can show you what my app store looks like. For anybody that wants to try this, you just go to your app store, which is down here, and then you click these little three dots, you hit Community App Store, and then this is where you know, plug in the repo of an app store. And then once you do, it shows up in this list. This one's mine. You hit open, and you got my apps are here. So it's that easy. You know, you just go to Superbrain and you click install right there. But mine's already installed.
That sounds a lot like an F-Droid repository.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Just better looking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you must have been so excited that you're able to bring this thing to life, right?
And I had so much fun. Dang. And all the people that like jumped on to like start installing and testing and going through it all. Like, yeah, definitely just have been having a great time with that and all of them.
And you were basically a one-man show using AI and whatnot. You built, I mean, you had people helping, I guess, along the way.
I mean, that's not a fair way of putting it, because, you know, all of the software, not all of it, but the main components are like
other
pre-existing good pieces of software, you know, P2 pool and XMRig and XMRig proxy, right? Stuff like that. Let me see if I can switch my screen to the next one that I just opened. Yeah, so it was really just about finding out how to put those together in a way that is super easy, right? And the Monero node, you know, on Umbrel, right? Because there's an official Monero node. It has authentication, like it has a user and a password. So those are just more steps for somebody to go through. So I had to make this like, you know, initialization script that finds those and puts them into the environment variables so that the containers can read them, so that the user doesn't have to do anything. They just open the app, it finds the node and connects to it. That kind of easiness, you know.
Wait, go ahead and bring your screen up again.
Okay, how about this? Is that Superbrain? Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm having yeah, here we go. This is it. So if I go down here to the logs, you can see kind of like the main pieces of software that are running, which are P2 pool, XMRig, and XMRig proxy. XMRig proxy is, it's kind of like the yeah, it's like the Strait of Hormuz, right? All the miners have to go through it. So, you know, if you have multiple computers on your system, this makes it really easy to create a mining farm. I had some connected, but I don't have any connected right now. But if you click on local mining pool, this is where your different rigs like stack up. You can see all your different mining rigs, and you just, on any computer, you just run XMRig and use this command, right? So it opens XMRig. It uses this command from the directory where your XMRig is installed. So it'll point it right to your, you know, Umbrel Superbrain, which is port 8888, and it names your rig, or you name your rig, and yeah, it'll pop up right here and add that hash to your mining fleet. So everybody can make super easy Monero mining rigs now.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Like you said, it's kind of like the goop packs for Umbrel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Up here we have these like cool themes that we made, just like, you know, some of the cool people in the group, like some little animations, just some fun stuff. So there's MoneroChan mining the block. This was from Giallo, you know, great designer.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to vibe on all kinds of cool stuff. So he's got this little mining Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, would it potentially make sense to maybe make like an app, like iOS or other app, you know, like an app on your phone, smartphone app that could perhaps integrate to, I don't know, something be done there?
I don't see the point because there's no real hash rate coming out of those devices at this point. You know what I mean?
No, I guess for viewing your super brain for fun. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome because you just connect to your Umbrel over Tailscale and open this app and you can see it on your phone.
Okay, so
you know, like when we were at Monerotopia, I was just sitting there. You know, I'd just pop open my
that's
super
where the
brain.
Tailscale comes in. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see I've gotten 45 payouts on very little hash rate. Right now it's extra little. I don't know what's going on. I got to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been running for, you know, a long time.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Tailscale versus Tor hidden services? Because the way I do all my stuff is like Tor hidden services. So my Monero RPC is a Tor hidden service, and then I've got like my Home Assistant also as a Tor hidden service. That way I don't have to deal with port forwarding and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean Tor's great, but it's just very slow. You know, so with mining it doesn't work, and with things like you know, Super Pay, the payment terminal that I'll get into next, it's just slow. You have to wait. You know how it is now. You pay and boom, it shows you payment confirmation. But all that stuff is built in. You can use Tor. It comes like pre-configured in the Umbrel system, so it's just slow. Yeah.
I do see Giallo's giving you a shout out.
Yo, what a guy. I mean, I love these people.
He was helping you with the graphics?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's always making graphics, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a few people in the group that are just always making memes and making great stuff. This one's from Connor. He makes all kinds of graphics. And then this is another one that I made just for fun, like testing out this like hyperspace look, and there's like these random words that come through, like it'll say like random X, or it'll show like a hash from a block or something like that. So yeah, it was just, you know, we wanted to make something that had a vibe, so you could just sit here and like,
yeah, you might as well
mining
make it
Monero,
right?
and have fun, listen to some music, like, ooh, yeah, we're getting some blocks, and
make it experience. That's awesome.
Yeah. There's a Matrix channel that is just the P2 pool block updates. So if anybody minds P2 pool and wants to see that, you can just leave it open and it'll show you whenever blocks are found. But we have plans to, like, the actual back end of this UI system is built to have 3 different states. One is mining, one is idle, and one is block found. We just didn't get to updating that yet to the front end. But like, for instance, she's mining, but if you stop the miner, you know, she'll just like stops and like pants. And then if P2 pool itself finds a block, then she like does a little spin, you know, like a whoopee, and block found. Yeah, so fun stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think Tari, right, was good with that when they launched. That's what was kind of most impressive about Tari, was how they reinvented mining and kind of made it fun and made it a vibe. And now you're doing that purely with Monero here, and it's awesome.
But P2 pool supports Tari merge mining, and a few people had suggested that we look into that, but I never did. So I don't know if it's still worth doing.
I love it. Is there a vision here of further development? What's next for Super?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always just having these like wild ideas. You know, I want to have like a 3D AI avatar in here that you can talk to about Monero, and a more like 3D interactive. There's this language called 3JS. It's like an in-browser 3D rendering system that makes great graphics. So this could be like more immersive. It could be a more immersive artistic experience, you know. And I also want to increase the like connection between the front end and the back end in a way that you get beautiful artistic rendition live updates of mining, right? So like it'll show you your hashes like in 3D space, or show you network stats in like 3D space or something like that. So yeah, definitely plans, but it was working good enough. So I moved on, and we'll come back to it because yeah, it is just me, you know. I haven't had any like pull requests or forks, or except for the start 9, except for the guy that made the start 9. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Awesome, brother. What's the what's the other one? The Monero Super Pay.
Super Pay. Do you have a Mac?
No, I'm not on a Mac right now.
Okay.
I'm on Linux, bitch. I thought you knew.
Linux is the shit. I know. I gave it, you know, I gave it my bestest, and of course, Umbrel is based on Linux, but I do a lot of media stuff, and I couldn't get jamming on the Linux with music and video.
That line, Doug, comes from a song called "Epic Rap Battles of History: Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs." It's hilarious if you want to listen to it.
Nice.
Where are you?
Bring it up. Bring it up.
It's like one of those parody things from quite a few years ago.
I mean, you got to share the link, bro. You can't talk about it and not share the link.
Yeah. In this day,
get it out there.
Okay, hold up. I'll bring it up, and then I'll put it in the private chat for you guys.
Okay, I'm like a pretty hard dude, but I'm not gonna cry like for anything. I legit shed a tear at the end of that music video, and I'm not even like a big rap battles guy, but I did actually legitimately like cry a little bit at the end of that.
Here we are, Monero Super Pay. Beautiful, man.
Huh.
So this is essentially a POS system for
That's exactly what it is. Designed for in-person transactions.
And idea being it would run on like somebody's phone or like a terminal, like an iPad, or like how do you envision this being used?
Yeah, so the POS, like if you go down to devices, right, you can pair a device. So the app is like, think of it like the back end, like the server. That's what you have the settings and configuration, and you put the keys in, you connect it to the Monero node, and you can change the setting, add products. But I just always tried to stay in the mind of like a restaurant when I was designing this, because I go, what's going to make it easy for these guys to be able to collect payments and all the information that they need. So the manager, right, would run this app, and now you can run it. The first version was on Umbrel. This is Mac right here. And anybody that works there, like the servers, the cooks, they can just pair a device, right? You don't have to download an app. You just open this little modal right here, and you say like, you know, kitchen 1. And then there's 2 device types. There's the point of sale and the order monitor. So the order monitor shows you, you know, it shows you all the pending orders. It shows you all the information about the orders. And say a cook in a kitchen can see, oh, an order came through. They don't need to take orders. They just need to deliver them. So you can see the information. You can see if it's been paid. And you can, once it's been paid and you have like put the, say the food out, then you can mark it as delivered. So you can move on. So you just scan this QR code right here with any device, right? On the local network. If you're in a different location than where this app is running, then you use Tailscale and you connect over on this side.
Oh, wow.
So that you can have this running back at home, and then you can go to the store and have a few devices and still collect orders and still track everything.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'll just run you through.
Now, how do you see, obviously, like ideally it would be, the ideal way would be to tie into like an existing POS system, right? Like, because restaurants have their own systems that they're using. So the idea is here they would just have an additional thing. Maybe you're just running on the servers would be running on their phones as an app or something.
Well, I mean, a lot of the because I checked out, like anytime I would go somewhere, I'd be like, hey, is that Square? Let me check that out.
Right, exactly.
Or whatever they're using. Is that, those systems are like not open source. You can't really modify them. But if somebody's running an Android POS machine, like a lot of people do, then you just scan this QR code and it opens up your Super Pay in a browser tab.
Awesome.
Easy, right? That's how it's supposed to be. Super easy.
So those are people that are running their own POS on Android, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like if they have those more like open source devices, like the Android ones, essentially, right? Because like say if you take Square or something, those are not. Yeah. So yeah.
But can you build apps for Square and stuff? I thought I think you can.
I didn't look that deep into it because Square is, I mean, maybe you can, but everything would probably go through them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
something to look into.
They take their fees and
yeah.
But they do have Bitcoin, They have Lightning and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fully integrated into Square, but maybe there's a way to like create
but it's fully KYC integrated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get Bitcoin to your Stripe account. I'm sorry, your Square account, and then you have to withdraw it after a certain amount. So yeah, that's not what we're jamming on at all.
Very cool though that you whipped this up as well, man.
Yeah, I'll just run you through the rest of it. Every configuration has its own store. So if you have multiple sets of products or stores, then you just make a new store here. And this is where you make your products, right? You add a category first, for whatever it's going to be. And then when you add your products, like say the burger that I put up there, you just select the category that you made it in. And then when the person is taking the order, they can organize, they can buy, oh, you want a drink, and easily be able to find the products that the customer is ordering. So that's where you add your products. And then in the point of sale, some companies have so many, like I went to a smoke shop because it was right next to a cigar shop that I was hanging out in, and I was talking to the kid that worked there, and he was showing me his point of sale system. And he goes, oh, yeah, everything's a custom item, So I was like, okay, we definitely need that. So you can just add a custom item, right here. And you add it to the cart. It gets added to your cart right there. And then, of course, you have your set products. So you just click on them, however many you want. Add a name. Let's get Doug some milkshakes.
I'm always down for that.
Yeah, there's a tipping feature, of course. And then there's your payment screen right there. And
yeah, good use case. Actually, so just yesterday, I went outside of city limits, a couple hours outside, and driving through an area where you could buy, some raw milk and some cheese, things like that. And it's one of those honor systems where you leave cash. At least that's what it used to be, but now they have a POS system there. And it accepts credit card too. But that would be like perfect use case, right? A Monero version of that.
Yeah, they could just lock an iPad to the table and have this open, and people can just tap in what they ordered.
Yeah. I'd love to have one like a self-serve.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I couldn't see, because I can't see the screens or whatever, are the prices all in fiat, or do you get the option to price your business items in Monero?
Oh, we're going to price it in XMR. And you can price it in XMR only, right? So that's how it's set right now in the settings right here. You can have both.
It won't show fiat price.
Select both, save the settings, and then go back to your point of sale. And now you see the dollar amount below in green. XMR is in orange. Yeah.
But you can just have it showing XMR only?
Oh, yes. Completely. Completely. For the purists.
So maybe for next Monerotopia, maybe we could get some people using this. Obviously, most people there are just using like Cake Wallet directly or Edge or something, and they're just receiving payment. They're not really, right? A lot of small vendors aren't tracking their sales to that degree.
Right.
But
yeah, this is going to be
cool for testing.
A lot easier because there's like this small analytics section. So it'll tell you what's selling the most. and which devices are
smart
selling the
teams.
most, right? Who are your big sales guys?
Right.
So when you connect a device, you name it. So when you name it, you know, like whose device it is, or, you know, which part of the store it is, or what table it is, or whatever. There's all different types of, you know, variables. And then that'll show you in the analytics section. So you can say, oh, wow, like Jimmy, man, that guy can sell burgers. Yeah. Awesome, I think we got through most of the settings too. You know, you edit your store functionality here, and then this is where you add your View wallet. There's a guide on where to find your View keys for Cake Wallet on the GitHub, but you just need those 4 things: the primary address, the private View key, and the restore height. And then you name the wallet, and it gets saved into your Super Pay. So it's a View only wallet, right? There's no spending keys on this software. It just tracks. Yeah, that's Super Pay. Yeah.
Now we just need to open up the Monero Cafe in NYC. And
you know, like
going, bro.
With the other projects that I've tried, like for instance, the Monero van adoption, you know, this needed to happen first, because I was going out and finding these people and talking to businesses and showing them Monero, and they were like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, oh shit, what do you do? Like, are we going to try to get into BTC Pay Server? Like, that is such a complicated program. There are like 50,000 buttons in that thing, and there's like all these plugins and I'm just like, okay, that's not going to work. That's, you know, for super technical people. Plus there's no desktop app for it. And yeah, we just really needed something like this, you know?
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be good to maybe try to experiment with this at the next Monerotopia. That would be a good testing ground for sure. Get some vendors using it.
Yeah, it would be good.
Yeah, who would be some good early adopters for this? You have the hardware store that's accepting Monero. They're on XMR Bazaar. I guess they built their own system. I think they have their own website now.
The Ward's Ace. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was great. So they're using like a more, you know, they're using the Monero, it's a more like centralized system.
Yeah, they're using the Monero gateway and basically just WordPress site, I think, probably.
Yeah. And that's probably great for them. You know, they have, I was definitely, when that popped up, I was considering more functionality to be able to import the like big product lists via CSV files, like for a store like that. You know, that's not a cafe that has more than a few dozen products. You're going to have to find a way to tie it into their pre-existing payment information product, you know, list.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're trying to do
updated too, because right there it's always. So yeah, that will be great development for the future, and also making this more e-commerce friendly would be great development also. But we do have BTC Pay Server, right? For something like that already works for that. Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. So I'm just like working on the gaps. We're trying to fill in things that I really have wanted for a long time, and I tried BTC Pay Server for a long time, but it sucks over Tor, you know. And then I finally got into Tailscale, and go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we got it hooked up to Monerotopia this year for accepting
payment. I would love to hear how yours is hooked up.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, we use WordPress, so it's just like a widget, but a BTC Pay Server one that we're able to get up and running. It took some time, but it's finally at the point where it's easy enough to do that.
But the server itself has to be running somewhere, right? So it's on a.
Oh yeah. We're running. I don't even know whose server.
It's like a VPS.
Yeah, somebody help us out with that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
We hold the keys. Whatever.
That's a good service, right? Like somebody that runs that service can make some money helping people use the software.
Exactly.
And, you know, like for instance, SuperPay could also have something like that, where if somebody just wants to access SuperPay from a website and have it hosted somewhere else, they could pay a little bit to do that, and then just connect their devices to their SuperPay and be able to take orders, right? Without having to have the MacBook running or the Umbrel server running.
Exactly.
And Deverick was doing that.
Yes, Deverick helped us out with that.
Kyun, I think it was called KYUN, and that was good. I think they just, you know, everything takes time, right? So they need to get that BTC Pay server instance updated with the functionality of having multiple Monero View wallet keys in it. And that's pretty sure that's what he's working on now. So that means a service like Kyun could host lots of stores for people.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'll be a huge unlock for people in e-commerce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were even thinking of trying to do it through Monerotopia, adding that as a service because we got it up and running with them. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be good.
If we could help in that way. And yeah, man, amazing work. You got both of these apps up and running in a matter of weeks. Very cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, a few months. Super Brain is really a long time in the making, right? Because I've been piecing it together in different ways as it became more clear how to do it, because of the way that Umbrel works is unique, so. But what's next is the question, right? You saw that I was making a StressNet node for Umbrel.
Okay.
Because the StressNet is it's another thing. You have to be super technical to participate in that, right? And the first thing you see when you go to their page is they have a disclaimer that the anonymity set of the StressNet nodes is so low, like maybe less than a few dozen even, right? Because it's only a few developers. So you have to make sure that your OPSEC is good with VPN or Tor. But so if your node is connecting to a bunch of other nodes, like anybody, could run these StressNet nodes and try to collect information on everybody else that's running StressNet nodes. So I started making an Umbrel app for it that it just hardline, completely Tor connection, P2P, block sync, all that kind of thing. And then I was talking to Offern, and he's just saying like, hey, like you got ways to go on this. So why don't you just wait until the next version of the StressNet comes out, right? And that's what Luke is working on now. The beta, I believe it's called, beta StressNet. And then that's what they want people to join in on and start testing and stressing. So, or just calling that Super Stress because it has, just a little bit of functionality built into it that makes it easy to, I don't want to say spam, but like try different things to stress the network. And just make it easy, one-click install. It's going to take a long time to sync, but it might be a new database with blockchain. I need to look into that because if so, then it won't take a long time to sync. It'll be good. And I was working on a Bitcoin privacy tool. It was just a fork of that program, Stealth. Did you see that by chance? Stealth? No. So somebody at the Bitcoin Plus hackathon made a great, like kind of like a private chainalysis system that tracks all these heuristics, like a dozen different heuristics for Bitcoin addresses. And, also it was a pain in the ass to use because they didn't develop it beyond the command line. So I started working on the Umbrel app to run this in the background. And I had one version working, but then somebody made like a super awesome version of that. And they called it Am I Exposed? So it just really shows how cooked Bitcoin privacy is.
Oh yeah, I heard of Stealth.
Yeah, so check out Am I Exposed? If you can find it. Maybe I could probably pull it up. I have it on the computer. On my Umbrel. I installed it, but it's great. You put in a key and it just tracks everything and looks at heuristics like the way that an analysis firm would. So it looks at exchanges, it looks at different fingerprinting from wallet types. It looks at, of course, combined UTXOs and span timing. Like
the last time I touched Bitcoin was 2017. I don't even own a Bitcoin wallet.
How did it feel? Yeah.
Awesome, brother. We could go ahead and do viewers on stage, bring people up. I don't know if anybody's around wants to ask Sir Jams a question, and obviously we could just chat in general. So yeah, Justice, if you want.
The Monerotopia Viewers on Stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar. Play dice with Monero using your privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to xmr.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Please gamble responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
Alrighty, we have anybody else that wants to jump up? We could add the link in the chat. There we go. So we got
You know, it's
Alaska up
really
here.
bizarre as I've been to the same places as SirJam several times, and we've never, ever talked.
Really?
No, he's like totally, I mean, you know me well enough, Doug. Like, he seems like my kind of guy, right? And
I'm
I've
surprised
never
you guys
talked to
haven't
him.
crossed paths yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've even seen him, you know, like I've never actually talked to him. So it's a pleasure to meet you, SirJamz.
Yeah,
I
man.
would be your court jester, as I put in my little
And
bio.
SirJamz filmed our Monerotopia little mini doc this year. We'll see what comes of that. But I'm sure,
Yeah,
sure
actually, I
good.
should have prepared some clips to show, but maybe I could do that next time.
Yeah, no
come back,
worries.
You know, just
I
to,
know
like,
you've
there
been
are
busy,
some
man. I know you've
awesome
been busy, so.
moments, you know, from just great Monero people. So I'll pull out a few
It
clips.
sounds to me like you've been quite productive with your time anyway, so we won't judge you on this round, right?
Thanks.
Yeah, I do want to be pushy with it. We got some time. Yeah, but I can't wait to see what you come up with, and we'll release that to get people excited for the next Monerotopia. I'm sure you did a great job.
It was a
on that.
beautiful event. Thank you for putting that together. Like, it was just good. I mean,
yeah, no, it was great.
Did you
man.
see that awesome MoneroChan family with the Bawdyanarchist baby? Wasn't that the best?
That's me. That's literally me.
Yeah, amazing.
That was Alaska.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got a few
nice.
tips for you guys. Yeah.
Anybody else want to come up here? Who else do we? No, it's all the same people. Okay. Yeah, guys. What else we got?
You know, maybe it's just me, but has anybody seen like a massive like surge, I guess you could say, in people? And I've been watching it for a while, but just in the last 2 weeks, like the huge number of people that are all of a sudden like genuinely concerned about their privacy. And I think I might know what the reason is. So my work emails, my employees, all of the other, you know, the people that I just interact with in my day-to-day life, the number of scams that they're becoming victim to is absolutely ridiculous. And they're starting to piece together that their privacy is the problem. You know, like that, you know, people are getting a hold of their data and they're scamming them. We had, I think, like, I have to check with my homie, but we had like $200,000 in like fraudulent checks in the last month at my company. It didn't even have like our company's name on it or anything. And it's all just from data brokers leaking information, and then like a bunch of AI wielding Indian scammers just like stealing money. You know, the amount of scams. And even my banker, one of my bankers, because we use a couple of banks, but one of my bankers had brought up to me that he was getting really into the crypto scene, because even in his banking circles, a lot of people are talking about the privacy implications now. So like I'm seeing lots of normie land red pills going on about privacy in the last 2 weeks. Is anybody else seeing that, or is that my hopeless optimism?
No comment.
That's definitely echo chamber hopeless optimism.
I was going to say it might either be in your area or it's hopeless optimism, because I haven't seen any of that, but that doesn't mean much.
I mean, what I've found is that people do care. They just have no fucking idea what to do about it. You know, they know that, you know, bad things are happening and that it's not good, but they're stuck on these platforms and these, you know, whatever protocols.
People think it's futile to resist.
Everybody I know just thinks they're just apathetic to it. They're just like, oh, fuck it. There's no way in hell I can do anything anyway, so fuck it.
Yeah.
The
well,
last
guess
big
what?
push I saw was the I forget what it was because I'm so far from that world, but apparently Windows just released a bunch of absolute trashy slop stuff on their operating system. And I had a lot of people ask me to help them get onto Linux. And all of them seemed to be very happy with whatever distro or, you know, however they landed.
Now I have that.
I'm just saying that like the deck seems to be stacked in our favor if we can just hold on, you know.
That's true. I've seen a lot of that too, like videos popping up. Like I installed Linux. I deleted Windows. So you definitely push on that. What kind of distros are you putting people onto?
So anybody who's like in the gamer world looking to de-Windows, I'm telling them Bazite right now. It's absolutely incredible. And I get a lot of those people because usually people will switch in their like gaming computer before they switch in their work computer. Now, as far as work computer goes, it really just depends. I focus mostly on like the UX side of things. You know, there's a few that I recommend for former Mac users and a few that I recommend for former Windows users, just because it's something that they can get used to. And then if they already have like a GPT account, I tell them, hey, like Chat GPT will help you figure out all your Linux questions. And that's just kind of like where I point them to until they come back and tell me how great it is. Or on the other end of things, if like they're actually trying, then I'll, you know, point them to different forums and stuff where they can like study up. And now I'm kind of refining my distribution list based on how people react to things like the age verification and also like what they're saying about it and so on. But I tend to keep like kind of a decent curated list in my head of, you know, where each group of normie might best land.
My go-to has pretty much always been Linux Mint. Like if I've just got to say one distro, it's Linux Mint.
How about Zorin? You try that?
A long time ago, but I haven't used it recently.
I lean heavily on Chloe for a lot of this stuff too, because she's pretty hardcore distro swapper, like, you know, constantly hopping from distro to distro. And you know, when it's time, when the horde approaches, I try to just ask her, hey, what's hot right now? And she keeps up on all the rankings. And I mean, I think this community would be pretty lost without Chloe, the unsung hero of the Linux world, you know.
I used to do that a long time ago, like when I first got into Linux, and then I just got to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm done playing around now. I just want my computer to work, so I installed Linux Mint, and it just works.
I mean, Bazite is very much a just works thing as well, by the way. Like I mean, even the game stuff aside, like I've had this because one of my work laptops is also like one of my son's travel gaming computer. Some of you may have seen that, but so I've been using Bazite for work sometimes as well, and I'm always surprised at like you can flat pack whatever office suite or whatever, and it just works. Like everything just works all the time.
I have like played with a couple of different distros, not in the super recent past, but within the past like year or so. And I'm seriously considering going back to Nix OS just because of the immutability of it. Like I've tried it once and kind of fell off of it, but I'm seriously thinking about giving it another shot again.
By the way, did anybody notice how absolutely fucking lit the new Monero.com and I'm sure also Cake Wallet interface is? I'm loving it, man. At first I was like, yeah, because I'm like one of those old guys that just it's different, you know. But then I played with it for a little bit and it is slick. Like it's very, very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I took a quick look at it. I don't use Cake as my main wallet, but I did take a look at it.
Well, that was part of my because like when I onboard people to Monero, I mean, the Monero.com wallet is just like ideal, unless it's a business. Then I tell them like Edge, which that gap is closing between both of them. But you know, the thing is I always like the interface is just still a little clunky for noobs. And now, like, you know, you got the tool tips and everything is just like right there. And it's, I think as far as like the normie adoption thing goes, Cake just like absolutely knocked it out of the park with this new UX.
Oh yeah, when I recommend a wallet to a new person, I'm gonna say Monero.com, even if it's not the one I use myself.
I hope this Monero one guy doesn't get burnt out. That's pretty. I love what he's doing.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice too.
Well, I'm going to hang out with my son, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll be listening in the background.
All right, have a good one.
And God bless you all. And pleasure to meet you, Sir Jams. It's a long time coming.
Yeah, you too. But I think we just chatted like a little bit. I asked you if I could grab a shot of your family.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, it's part of the religion of Monero to come take a pilgrimage to Alaska.
Oh,
yes. Here,
okay.
I'll put in this in the studio chat. I'll put like some ways to get a hold of me.
Nice.
But you seem like a man of the road, so
yeah,
come on up, bro. We've got, especially with summer coming up, you've got to come visit.
I like to say I would go home if I had one.
Yeah, well, that's because it's Alaska, and you just didn't know that.
Nice.
It's the freest place on earth, man.
You guys go fishing out there?
You can go fishing, hunting. You can disappear for like a century, and no one will ever find you because it's the middle of nowhere.
Maybe we can remake some scenes from that movie Into the Wild.
Yeah. No, there's actually I have thought about this specifically with you before. There's a town called Homer in Alaska, and this place is totally the vibe that I get from the little I know about you. It's like an eclectic music town where like every political and philosophical affiliation possible is all nestled in this absolutely gorgeous bay. And they have this saying about Homer, which it's a quiet little drinking town with a fishing problem, because it's like the hot spot for going halibut fishing. And like they have all of these gorgeous restaurants on the thing that they call the pier. But if you fly up here, I will take you to Homer. It's quite a drive, but it's the most beautiful drive you'll ever see in your life.
All right, I'll hop on my jet. I'll come over.
Yeah, I'll send you some contact information here in the chat. Of course, everybody on the stream right now knows how to get a hold of me as well. So, like,
that's really nice, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
quiet little drinking town with a fishing
problem. Having guests, we really do.
What about Body? Is he going to come too?
He keeps talking about it.
Let's go, Body.
Here and there. Like it's, I mean, he knows he's welcome. If he hasn't figured that out, he's not as smart as we all thought he was, because I've like shouted it from the rooftops at this point. Like, come on home, bro. Of course, you know, he's in Mexico, so that's also a really, really free place right now. So, and warmer, but it's in the summer season, he might want to, you know, dabble. But you guys are welcome to make your pilgrimage to Monero Mecca. Even my cars have license plates with Monero on it. So, like,
wow. Heck yeah.
I don't know how you pull that one off. All right, guys, we could end it here. We got Alaska's going to family time. I'm being pulled into family time right now as well.
Copy that email, homie.
I'm good. We could just make it a short stream.
Yeah, let's make it a short stream. And we'll catch up again next week. I'll see who I have coming on this week as for Monero Talk. Might try to do a THORChain thing. And yeah, we'll see you guys.
Like that idea.
Penelope's loving that idea right now. She wants to go outside. So yeah, guys, we'll kill it here, and we'll see you guys next week. Back to normal time, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern next week. Sir Jams, thank you so much, man, for jumping up, sharing what you're working on. Very excited to see you being able to bring these ideas to fruition.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean, I know you asked a few times and it took me a while.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I just want to help spread the word. That's what the show's all about. And yeah,
I mean, for anybody, MoneroSuperPay.com. tell your favorite restaurants, your favorite stores that you go to. They can install it on their computer and they can start accepting Monero super easy, right?
Fantastic.
Just walk them through a Cake wallet and then take those keys and put it into their Super Pay, and you're ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and you're welcome to jump up anytime you want to give us an update on what's going on with all of that.
Okay.
So we will we'll leave it at that, and we'll play the outro. See you guys next week.